Hypocrisy.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Law-Splaining the Interwebs. I am your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. And with me today, returning as a champion, a very special guest who's been gone for too long, Mr. Ty Beard.
Hey.
Hey, man.
How the heck are you?
Oh, my God. I'm exhausted. How are you?
Well, about the same. About the same. As you know, I'm trying to turn over a new leaf and be a kinder and gentler Ty. And, you know, that's, well,
why?
it's a work in progress.
Why in God's name would you do this?
I was bored. You know, I felt reprimanded when Richard sent me a cane. You know,
yeah.
The last time I was on your show, it was like, you know, like this is like a manly, solid cane too. You could beat the absolute hell out of somebody.
Yeah,
it's got a little whiskey flask in it. I'm actually
nice.
I'm gonna bring it. I'm going, and it even has a little thing that says, you know, tease me about my age and I'll beat you with my cane.
Is that New Hickory? Because Old Hickory was Andrew Jackson's cane.
Yeah, this is gonna be. Yeah, this is new. I get. Yeah. I mean, it's mighty. I mean, it's manly, and I'm going to take it with me to a convention. The funny thing is, I'm actually going to the doctor tomorrow for my knee. Remember about a year ago, I had a knee issue, and they shot me full of cortisone, and the cortisone's worn off. So,
good. They're gonna fill you up again, or they're gonna get you.
He says he's gonna. That new doc. Well, I've started using him. He's a client actually, but he says he's gonna get it right this time.
Okay, I just figured for Pride Month, you go into the doctor's office and a man would inject you full of something.
Yeah, thanks. That's could have gone my whole life without that imagery, but yeah, golly, I guess it's been a while, hadn't it? We had the wedding, and I think you watched the stream and taunted Vic at least.
And you.
Oh,
yeah.
Did you? Okay. Well,
and your daughter.
Everybody was after me, so
I kept asking everybody why I wasn't invited. It was very, very uncouth.
Well, you know, your Uncle John just crashed the party.
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah, just around the camera, she said, "Did they just crash the party?" I said, "Yes, honey, I invited them." She's like, "Well, but anybody else crashing the party?" I said, "No, I think that's it. Paul's not going to be able to make it." So yeah, she goes, "Well, good. I had 4 allocated for you to, you know."
For you
invite to crash the party, so we're good.
Nice, well played. At least by now she knows you.
She does. I will say that about my beautiful daughters. They get me.
Yes,
they really do.
Okay, so to the stream, I have to let you know something. I have migrated, we'll say, my Streamlabs to a new link. It is in the description. I think it works, but ignore the Streamlabs link at the top of the window that says Rekieta Law. It is now Rekieta Media. I'll get it changed as soon as I can, but it's supposed to function. I'm pretty sure it does, but we'll have to try it out and see. And by we'll have to try it out, that's a sly way for me to say, you'll have to give me money. Oh, hey, there's some money in there. So some people have gotten it working. So that's good.
Well, that's a load off.
It should still display the messages. I was working on it and testing it today, so everything should happen. Did I find out what happened with it? Provisionally, yes. But I'm waiting for a more complete answer. So I will update as it happens and as I get more information. But it now should say "get grifted" when you donate or whatever. So that's good. But yes, so this has of course been a fun adventure. So yeah, Ty, lots has happened since the last time you were on. I mean, everything has gone to shambles. Clearly, I'm having to put in new links. I got a new camera. You'll notice I'm in clearer high definition. Well, I mean, you would if you had your battery glasses in.
Yeah,
But
yeah. My contacts. I'm out of contacts, and my regular glasses have too much of. Do I have a reflection?
I mean a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know. It looks kind of goofy. I kind of like being able to see everybody, though. I don't know. Yeah, well,
So,
we'll play it by ear.
seeing is good,
I've
but
I've
looks are
got the
cool.
screen blown up like 5 times the normal size. I've got like a 55-inch monitor or 60-inch monitor. So
Oh, nice, nice.
yeah.
Uh, mini. Hold on. Okay, the chat's freaking out because we had a
Those
stream
glasses are
hiccup.
breaking the stream.
Yeah, Ty's glasses broke the stream.
Hey man, these are $6 glasses. Okay, from oh crap, well, some online thing. I buy them by the gross, lose them by the gross too.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's
yeah.
that's not good. You don't want
I
to lose
couldn't have
glasses
functioned
though.
in the old days when kids would get serious beatings for losing their glasses and stuff.
Yeah.
Fortunately, by the time I was discovered to be legally blind, glasses had gotten far more affordable. Uh,
So wait a minute. You're legally blind. How
well,
bad are you? How bad's your eyesight?
it's pretty bad actually. See, I wanted to be a fighter pilot,
Yeah.
and I had gotten to a point where I was actually corresponding with Senator John Tower's office to try to wrangle an appointment to Annapolis. I wanted to go to the Naval Academy and fly F-14s. This was long before Top Gun. And I started noticing all of a sudden I couldn't read the numbers on the pool balls on our pool table.
Yeah.
And I was like, hmm. And so as time wears on and I'm sitting in class doing this, can't see anything, and the teacher's like, you need to go to the nurse and have your eyes checked. I said, no, I can see just fine. You know.
Yeah.
And they sent me to the office. I actually didn't go the first time, but then she frog marched me the second time and gave me a little eye test in the nurse's office. And like called my mother and said, "Come get him. He can't see." So
Aw.
yeah, well, and this was 81, I guess, and RK had just come out. It was like a real cutting edge kind of thing, and I was aware of it. So I asked the optometrist, I said, "What about this radial RK stuff?" He goes, well, no ethical optometrist would recommend such a procedure. They cut your eyeball open, and my mother's like, "Oh God, no, not a chance."
Oh
Going,
man.
but
That's
but mom, I want to fly fighters.
Is that where they do the like lens insert basically?
At the time, no, at the time it was they later did it with a laser. Okay, they
Yeah.
cut a. My understanding is they cut a spiral in the lens of your eye, and then when it heals, it heals in the right shape. At the time, though, they used a computer controlled knife, not a laser. And
Yeah.
that was probably just as well that I didn't have that done. But yeah.
Uh
And yes, Stream, I did see the final countdown, a superior movie. I might add.
the way mine worked is they take a little circular pad about the size of your cornea, and
Mhm.
they soak that in like a strong ethanol or whatever, and they put that on your eyeball, and it dissolves the skin over the cornea, and then they take a little squeegee and they just scrape it off and get rid
Hmm.
of that. And then the laser shoots in there and it shoots they take like a 3D map of the surface of your eye, and the laser shoots beams at your eyeballs that cook it to an even curve,
Mhm.
and they smooth everything out and correct the lens that way, and then the skin heals back over your eye over like the next over the thing for the next like 2 weeks.
Did you notice any loss of night vision or anything like that?
I haven't yet.
Okay.
I
Okay.
mine worked great. I have like 2015 vision after it,
I've
and
I've thought about getting it. My problem is I see very, very well up close. So when I
sure.
read or when I, work on any miniatures or anything, I have great up close vision, and I don't like to wear reading glasses. Uh,
Right.
it's an imperfect solution. So I've I've kind of stayed away from getting my eyes zapped, but I may have to give that a shot because yeah, it's kind of a bummer being blind.
Yeah,
But
they do a test to make sure, now at least they do a test to make sure you have enough cornea for them to actually take away a whole bunch,
mhm.
and have it still be functional, because that was the problem in the beginning, I guess, is people with bad who didn't have enough base tissue would get the procedure, and then they would end up having permanent like problems with eyesight that couldn't be corrected.
Ugh.
But they've I guess they've largely figured that out for the
Yeah,
most part.
yeah, it's really amazing what they can do. You know,
And yeah, the best part was the smell though,
oh, good.
because
Yeah, I bet.
you can smell your eyeball getting cooked by a
Probably
laser.
smells like burnt hair, sort of, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
weird. It's honestly it's like it's about the easiest thing I've ever done. They give you Valium
For the
to
anxiety.
right. They give you Valium to
Yeah.
calm you down, and they have you hold like a little stuffed animal, I guess, because apparently we're all children. And then they clamp open your eye and they start working on it, but you don't even notice. Like you can't because
Well,
they use numbing eye drops, and then like while they're working on your eye, everything's just blurry. You can't even tell there's like a thing touching your eyeball.
no, and your eye actually heals insanely fast. You know,
Yeah.
I've gotten kicked in the eye before. You know, I got scratched and all that. But yeah, long time ago, I don't know, 5 or 10 years ago now, I talked to an optometrist about that procedure, and he started telling me the gory details like you were, and I said, "Let me stop you there." I said, I don't want to know. I just,
The the worst part is I watched it happen to the wife like a week before. I watched her eye get the operation. They put you in a room with like a camera zoomed way in on the eye, so you see it in like crazy detail while you're watching on TV. And so I watched her go through it, and then I had to go through it. The only bad part of the whole procedure is after the laser hits your eye, they have to cool your eyeball down really quick. And so they do a rinse, and it is the coldest thing I have ever experienced. I don't know what it was, but it was some saline style solution. It was freezing cold, and they spray it right on your eye,
interesting.
and you get an ice cream headache like immediately. It
Oh
is
yeah,
it is
yeah.
instant. And then they're like, "All right, now the next eye," and you're like, "You son of a bitch."
Yeah. Now, is that LASIK? Is that what they call the procedure you had?
LASEK, LASEK is the one I had.
EK.
There's
Okay.
some minor difference between them that I don't understand because I'm not a doctor.
My understanding was when all this stuff started, and again, this was '81, I think. It was a procedure that was actually invented in Russia because they could hack on people's eyeballs and it wouldn't matter. But yeah, when the doctor started telling my mother about the computer controlled knife cutting the eye lens open, that was the end of that. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I almost flew helicopters in the army. This was, did I ever tell you that story?
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So anyway, as you can imagine, I had wanted to be a fighter pilot since I was about 5 years old. So it was a pretty devastating blow. I kind of, just got stopped trying in school, just like bummed around. So anyway, I get to my senior year in high school, and I'm going to college half a day. That type thing, the local junior college. And I got talking to this army recruiter at around the same time, and he said, "You don't have to have 20/20 vision to fly helicopters." I'm like,
Ooh.
"Oh, yeah." And not only that, you don't even have to be an officer. I guess they had warrant officer, stuff. And I even took the test, the ASVAT, whatever the test was, and of course, scored very, very high. And
Of
he was,
course. Of course I did great
well, I
on the
mean,
test. Listen.
anyway, well, so remember, this is 1982 and 83. So the military, although it had become professionalized, it was still, the army was shaking off a whole lot of the bad stuff from Vietnam and all that. So they were still, if they found anybody that scored well on the test, they must have had some kind of serious bounty. So anyway, I'm really thinking hard about this, and of course, I didn't dare tell my mother about it. And I was in a class, a history class at the Tyler Junior College, and this guy is in there, and he's all messed up. I mean, he's like hobbling, walking like this, and he was, I don't know, 15, 20 years older than me, whatever. It came in one day with an olive drab T-shirt that said, member Southeast Asian Games, 1967 and 1969, member U.S. team. And so, with my keen eye for detail, I said, "Oh, were you in Vietnam?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "What'd you do?" And he said, "I was a helicopter pilot." I said, "No kidding." So I started talking to him, and I said, "Yeah, I'm thinking about doing that right now." I said, "What happened?" He said, "Well, I got shot down." He said, actually, I shot down like 7 times, but it was the seventh time that messed me up. They only go about 80 miles an hour through the air normally, and they're pretty easy to shoot down, no armor or anything. And
Right.
I was like, yeah, and I'm kind of thinking about this, and I said, yeah, they said I don't have to have 20/20 vision, and he goes, kid, he said they're lying. I said, what do you mean? He said, maybe you get to fly a utility copter, maybe, but you'll never fly gunships if you don't have 20/20 vision.
Right.
But the recruiter said, and he looks at me, he looks at me like I'm an idiot, and goes, son, do you know how to tell when a recruiter is lying? I said, no, sir. He said his lips are moving.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
You never trust a recruiter.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So tragically, I didn't do the helicopter route. Although later on, when the Gulf War happened, the second Gulf War, and a helicopter battalion nearly got shot down by bad guys just so we're hiding in cover with machine guns. I thought about that guy. I was like, yeah, first time I actually rode in a helicopter sometime later, I really was shocked at how slow they are. They don't fly very fast.
No.
And you're in the air. I was in Arizona on a real estate deal, and we're flying along, and I'm looking, I'm going, crap, if somebody were shooting at us, they'd pick us out of the sky because there's no speed. So anyway, that was my you know my vision thing.
I always wanted a helicopter. Like recently, I was like, man, I want a helicopter. But probably 5-6 years ago, I was like, I'm gonna find a place. I know there's a place around here that'll do helicopter lessons. Then I can pick up like an ultralight helicopter or whatever to have. That'll be awesome. That'll be cool. I can fly it to the Twin Cities and Uber around or whatever. And then I rode in a helicopter in Hawaii.
Yeah.
And I did not stop. Like, it took about 30 minutes, and then I just could not stop vomiting.
Yeah,
it was
it's a
horrifying.
strange sensation. I remember this when I was in Arizona. We met as a client. He was looking at real estate there, and so we fly out and we meet in the conference room at the airport there where we flew in, and we have the presentation. And so, well, I'll go out and fly out and take a look at the properties. Okay, great. And so we're driving out of the tarmac, and I mean, there's a giant, C5A transport sitting over there. Damn, those things are huge. And I see this little bitty tiny model helicopter, remote control helicopter on the airfield. And we're driving the little cart, and I realize with horror that little tiny remote controlled helicopter is actually the helicopter that we're going to fly in. Yeah. And so, how much do you weigh? And I was like, I don't know. I told him, how much do you weigh? He's like, okay, well, let me put you over here and lean over to the far side. I'm going, you're kidding, right? He goes, no. I said, okay. So I wound up in the front of the thing. And when they take off, it's an extremely bizarre feeling because you're sitting here and all of a sudden it's like, and because it's going like this.
Yep.
And I'm not entirely sure the helicopters actually are able to fly. I think I really kind of think they're sort of like
I've heard that
a
before.
crash that's about to happen.
I've actually heard this theory before.
Yeah.
There's a scholar. He wrote an article about it. Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're a crash that is about to happen, but somehow they've become temporarily disconnected, and so they're just perpetually in the moment before the crash happens.
Sometimes after.
But I didn't get sick, but it was a weird sensation. And like I said, I was, being the military history buff and didn't have anything better to do as that. I looked around. I thought, oh man, I now understand why we lost thousands of helicopters in Vietnam.
Yeah,
because I mean they're obviously very flexible, but yeah, I think even like an Apache probably doesn't fly normally when it's flying combat mission nap of the earth. I bet it doesn't normally fly more than about 120 miles an hour. And,
yeah.
World War I biplanes flew faster than that.
and they got shot down like crazy.
Well,
too.
And they were better protected because the helicopters can't really carry any armor,
Right.
So yeah, but anyway.
Well, let me. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I don't know if I told you, I'm actually going to a game convention tomorrow. Well, I'm heading out tomorrow to meet them early, but yeah. So if anybody's in North Texas, the North Texas role playing game convention.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
What role are you going to
yeah,
play?
uh, grumpy old bastard waving a cane around. I think.
It should come very
Yeah,
naturally for you.
yeah. I meant to show you. This thing's got a flask in it.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Look at this.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So you can sneak your liquor into wherever you want to go.
Yeah, I'm gonna load me up. I'm gonna load up a flask too. And oh crap, that is if I don't break it. It's an open question as to whether or not this will actually work. But yeah, but yeah, I'm gonna be there. The daughter units are coming up.
You're gonna be sitting there like chugging with a giant chain sitting out of your face.
Yeah, yeah. There's almost no way this doesn't go bad horribly.
I love it.
Yeah, yeah. But anyway, I'm gonna actually run. I'm not running any games officially on the schedule, but I'm gonna run some pickup games and stuff. And I'm gonna actually do something that I've rarely done at game conventions. I'm actually gonna play and run games. Normally, when I go to game conventions, I sit around and drink with people
Right.
the whole time.
I thought that's what conventions actually were.
Well, it's your uncle Paul's fault.
Okay.
I would go to a game convention and he would go, and so I'd be sitting there trying to do that, and he would lead me astray.
Sure. Yes.
So.
I love how the source of your problems is my family. That makes
Yeah, well, that is interesting. Yeah.
yeah.
Interesting thing. Yeah.
All right, let me read some of these chats that have come in, and then we can start talking about the world, because it's been a long time since you've been on, so I wanted to catch up with how much the world has been changing, and everything. Your governor did something funny today, so we could talk about that.
I saw your video on it too. Very, very yeah.
Okay, the No Ledge says, "Welcome back, Ty. Can't wait to catch the replay tomorrow. Hope you and yours are well, and I always appreciate when you can spare some time for us."
Oh, thank you. I always enjoy it.
Eugene Ford says, "Curse you, Nick. I got the teardrops at the end of The Man from Nowhere, but the movie was definitely fire." Yeah, that was a good flick. That's a good flick. Richard Grubber says, "Good evening, gentlemen. We are going to win."
Yes, we are.
So there you go. Tall Skinny Geek says, "It's great to see you supporting Pride Month, Nick. Always. Always. I'm a huge supporter of Pride Month.
Yeah.
Not as big as DeSantis. Ron DeSantis is the biggest Pride Month supporter I've ever seen."
Yeah, that was Grandmaster level trolling, wasn't
it? He nailed it right through the uprights on the girls' team, so the uprights were lower even.
Yeah. Well, you said that. I did.
Yeah. I don't think they let high school girls play football, because the only women's football league I know of is the lingerie one. I don't think that's okay at the high school level.
No, no.
They got to get to college for that one. Okay. So. Joskby says, beard, Ty the lawyer guy, wicked solo. I don't know what
kind of catchy
tune that's supposed to be. I have something for you. I got to either mail it to you or figure out when I'm coming down to Texas. And I could hand it off to you. Either way. Are you going to Matsuri?
I'd like to. I don't know why I can't. Unless there's some,
Yeah, it's July 8th through 11th.
Is Vic going to be there?
Yep, Vic will be there. I'll be there.
I'll probably. Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, obviously.
I think Drexel's coming too. He's going to try anyway.
So that could be fun. Yeah, I probably will.
Okay, so Short Round is a guy. He's the guy who made my flag back here.
Yeah.
He made flags of your office logo.
Oh, cool.
And he sent them to me because he's like, I don't know if Ty would be comfortable having some weirdo send him a bunch of these things, a random package. But so he sent them to me, trusting that I would get them to you. So I've got like 5 of these. They're like this. They're like 3 feet by 5 feet.
Flags.
Yeah, they're huge flags. And so I've got or not 3 feet, I think 4. I don't know.
Well, our lease is up, and we're gonna be relocating somewhere by the end of the year. So I mount it on a flagpole, stick it in a corner. That'd be really cool. Kind of like
yeah,
have the American flag on one side, and then
right. You got to have yours slightly lower, I think, because of the flag code. But
whatever the flag code is, I certainly wouldn't want to violate that.
no one wants to violate the flag code. I mean, people do it literally constantly, and we don't have any problem with it. But anyway, no. So I do have a bunch of your logo flags.
Well, cool. That's very nice. I appreciate that.
Got them upstairs. Otherwise, I'd show you one. But I'll send you a picture. But yeah. So if I see you at Matsuri, if you're gonna be there, I'll talk to you. But if you are actually gonna make it down there, I'll just bring them. Otherwise, I'll mail them or whatever.
Yeah, I tell you what. When we talk after the show, at some point, remind me again so I get
Yeah. Good. Well, you're just
I won't get it on my calendar if I don't give it off to my people.
right.
So,
You're not gonna just remember in 2.5 hours in the middle of the night to put it on your calendar. Okay.
no, not a chance. Well, they don't actually let me. They don't let me modify my calendar.
No.
Yeah,
That's
bad things happen. So
that's
I
a
have to
good that's a good administrator right there.
Yes, we have our office manager. She basically splits her time from running the office and keeping me more or less kind of organized and moving straight. So, but if I tell her, she'll get it calendared and make sure that I have a place to stay and all that kind of stuff. So.
Uriah Wright says, Nick, you're late and suck futu balls. Oh, thank you. Mario Carter 13 says, Nick's late in memorial of the 41%. I don't remember what the 41% is.
Reference. I don't either.
It's, I've seen it. Somebody help me out with the 41%. Okay. We've got, I've got a couple over here too. Hated 7 Days to Die says, looks like your Streamlabs is back up, or is this a new one? It is a separate one. That is true. Mario Carter 13 says, the neocons are right. We need a return to the Bush administration. And since she's got plenty of free time now, we should start by encouraging Liz Cheney to invite her colleagues on a hunting trip.
Harsh but fair.
Yeah.
As an aside, we may have already talked about this at some point, but dear Lord, what is wrong with these people?
Which ones? Like Liz Cheney?
I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. What is it about Trump that makes these rhinos just, stomp on rakes?
I don't. I think it's
gratuitously
because he figured out what like people like you and I know, what the chat knows, is that you don't capitulate.
Right.
It's I mean, Trump is far from Ayn Rand, right? Like their ideologies are not that close. But Ayn Rand always would say, they always want you to compromise, but how does one compromise with poison?
Yeah.
There is no middle ground. You're either dead or you're alive. You're either poisoned or you're not.
Their concept of a compromise is give us our way.
Right. And Trump figured out that you just don't do it, and you don't apologize about not doing it, and you just let them stomp and stamp their feet, and then it's over.
Point and laugh at them. Yeah. Well, that idiot jackass in Louisiana next door to us, Bill Cassidy, or Senator Beavis, because he does bear a most unfortunate resemblance to Beavis. In fact, he looks as much like Beavis as Murkowski looks like the cartoon Cruella de Vil. I actually did a meme where I put it up on his Facebook page. An actual picture of him and Murkowski side by side, and then Beavis and
Cruella.
But yeah, he voted for that stupid commission thing.
Yeah,
I mean, and it's
he's
like,
all in.
I mean, well, his constituents are carpet bombing him. Everything he puts up on social media, they just light into him, and so it actually was sort of almost dying down just a little bit, and then he just comes up and does this. I mean, I'm going, what is wrong with you? And he's not toxic. I mean, he's not, he trumpeted a big achievement where he and another guy led a bill for veterans. There are 12 Republican co-sponsors of this bill. That's the only way the guy can get his name on anything.
Yeah.
But because if you want to get reelected, if you're a Republican, you you don't dare be seen, co-sponsoring anything with that jackwad. Um, so even the ones like him who just got reelected, they're they're dead. I just
Right.
it blows my mind that they are so willing to completely obliterate their careers. I mean, obviously they're just idiots and they're arrogant, but good grief.
Yeah, I think
Um,
Bill Cassidy might have been on the way out, right? Like
no, he got reelected uh, by a pretty good margin. He's relatively popular
until now. But I mean, I was
uh,
wondering if he's like, "Oh, I'm going to retire at the end of this term" type thing. So I'm
well,
going to
maybe
just
so.
burn
I
the
mean, well,
toilet paper.
I think that's going to be the case regardless, because I got news for him. If my family in Louisiana is any example, they are not going to forget and they're not going to forgive, especially when he doubled down on it again for no good reason.
Right.
You know, and when I say no good reason, guys, what I mean is it his vote was not they weren't going to get it passed. So it was
Right.
utterly symbolic. So it was literally a symbolic, to his
And
supporters.
and the commission is stupid. It's a waste of time. It's a campaign ad. That's all
No,
it
no, no,
is.
Nick, you're not being fair. It's going to be perfectly balanced. It's going to be half Democrats that hate Trump and half Republicans that hate Trump.
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
It's but the entire thing is like, let's fund an ad. Let's fund an ad for the Democrat Party going into 2022. That'll be a good plan for us to do, is just fund a giant ad for them. And if we do that, then all of the ills will be cured. And it's like,
yeah.
this is a
Well,
strategically stupid plan. It's politically stupid. It's pointless because they're already prosecuting the people who they're going to prosecute, and they're going to go after all. It's not like they need help
no,
figuring out
no.
who
No,
did this.
this was a complete political show, and
Yeah.
and I will say kudos to the Republican Senate caucus that said no, we're just not going to go along with that,
Yep.
because I mean it's asinine that 7 Republican senators, but I think it's actually really nice of the rhinos to self-identify
Yeah.
and help us hunt them down,
Yep. They're just
because
making a. He means in voting. You
hunt them
can't.
down metaphorically,
Right.
metaphorically,
This is Ty. This is not Dick Cheney.
right. But yeah, Liz Cheney, though, she's one of the more fascinating dipshits in the Senate. You know, I mean, again, why? You're Wyoming. What, what,
Yeah.
what were you thinking? And of course, the answer is apparently nothing. Apparently, I mean, he just drives them crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
so,
he made people mad by not apologizing, not playing the game that they wanted to. And I mean, I think Trump did play the game a little bit. I think we've seen signs of him playing some of the politics. You have to. There's something that goes on there, but he didn't play it enough. It was never enough because Trump went, "No, I have power here. I don't
yeah.
need yours." And that, I think, those types of things just really rankle these senators. I believe that they individually are each more powerful than the president.
Yeah, well, there's an old saying that every senator imagines himself as president.
Yeah.
Well, I do think, and I think this is kind of to your point, the most unforgivable thing that Trump did is he showed just how absolutely feckless and idiotic our governing class is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, both parties. I mean, of course, it didn't surprise me one bit. I'm accustomed to working with and for self-made business owners. You know, um, they generally tend to be a cut beyond anything normal people encounter, and they get stuff done. And I
Right.
think, obviously, I think Trump has some regrets about. I think he realizes that he didn't handle the deep state as effectively as he could have.
When he
But
didn't have a legal plan for 2020. That I think is the biggest
That was
failure.
catastrophic. And of course, it didn't help that there were so many Republican, like the aptly named, Spur. What's his name? The guy in oh crap, Georgia, Raffensperger.
Oh, Raffensperger, yeah.
Yeah, the perfectly named Raffensperger. You know, uh, the Republicans have been willing in the past to let the Democrats just basically turn the electoral system into a third world country because they're just terrified of being called racist. Here is a news flash for these idiots. The people you're terrified of calling you racist, 95% of them are going to vote Democrat anyway. So why do you care?
Oh, and they're going to call you racist either way.
And they're calling you racist no matter what. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You
Did you see the little hottie from The Office, Ellie? Oh, anyway, the actress from The Office. She also did Kimmy Schmidt. Uh,
Oh, yeah. I know who you're talking about. The girl who was Kimmy Schmidt, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's hilarious.
she's got all the correct positions. She supports BLM and she supports Antifa, all the correct positions. And Twitter
Sure.
is now destroying her because it turned out that she was a debutante or something in 1999, and some random crank on Twitter decided that was racist, and they're just shredding her. And it's like, there you go, honey.
Good. There's no
Yeah,
quicker avenue to red pilling than a celebrity getting absolutely demolished after having the correct positions. Same thing happened to Rosario Dawson.
Mhm.
Right? Rosario Dawson, super LGBTQ plus supporter. Her family employs a transgender handyman to help out, and then the handyman ends up suing the family. They've been friends with with the transgender handyman for something like 20 years, and then employed them to do some work. Ends up suing them for anti-trans statements, misgendering, and also for a physical assault. And that case started in '99, flared up in 2020 when they mentioned Rosario Dawson was going to be on Mandalorian as Ashoka, and then it just was dismissed earlier last month, and quiet dismissal. But like it turns out, it was dismissed because the person making the accusations was asked to provide anything,
And he
and
couldn't.
they just never wouldn't even answer the court, like just
Yeah,
left. And so
yeah.
and the attorney for that person actually quit, saying, I've been trying to get them to cooperate with these motion deadlines and stuff, and they won't do it. So turns out it was all BS. Rosario Dawson got shredded. I hope she learned. I hope she learned her lesson. Like the
Yeah, no sympathy. I mean, Ellie Kemper, somebody actually put it out in the thing.
I don't know
Yeah,
her stupid name in Mandalorian. I
she's.
didn't watch that garbage.
Oh, now wait a minute. Wait a minute. Mandalorian was pretty good.
It's garbage because I didn't watch it, not for any
Oh, I
particular
see.
reason.
Yes. Well, that's
Yeah.
true. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. But she's accused of being racist, despite the fact that on her show, her co-star is a black man who is trans, who I believe is either gay or transgender. I can't remember.
Super gay.
Yeah,
Uh
yeah, flamboyantly so.
and
And
his music video, Pinot Noir, is one of the funniest things
I can only imagine.
I have ever watched. Oh my god. That show's actually the first season anyway was riotously funny.
Oh yeah, the girls made me watch it, and I was like, oh, this is really pretty funny. But yeah, it's an interesting world. That's the thing, right? The cancel loons are going to try to anybody who is better than you at anything. If you're a cancel loon, you're going to try to cancel them.
Yep.
And since these people are the worst kinds of bottom feeding scumbag, everyone's better than them. So you
They
know,
do lack a particular set of skills, and that particular set of skills is any.
any
It's
yeah,
it's
no, I
it's
agree. I agree.
amazing.
Invariably,
Yeah.
when you look at these people, they are sad, pathetic, unaccomplished, stupid, miserable pieces of crap. And that really is the back. That was the epiphany. We talked about this a year or two on your show, where I stopped even thinking about Twitter because I had this epiphany. It's like, wait a minute, I wouldn't let some idiot walk into my house or my office and start yelling at me. I'd shoot him. So why in the hell would I do that online when there are tens of thousands of them? And so I was like, I don't really care what these idiots think. And yeah, it was amazingly,
Yeah.
refreshing or
Oh,
liberating, I guess would be
my
the.
favorite part is always it's always when you see the people who are out there like tearing you down or whatever. It's like it's almost without fail they're absolute embarrassments to humanity, and it's like okay, I guess this is why you do what you do. And when I'm talking about people, they make it their job to tear down whoever they can on Twitter. Like that's their thing. And they're not getting paid for it because they can't get paid for anything.
No,
It's
there's
fantastic.
literally nothing they do that anybody would pay them any money for because they're not worth anything. There's an episode of The Twilight Zone. I'm gonna look it up real quick. Um, oh crud! That prefigures the stream can help. It prefigures all this cancel culture stuff. The main character is someone that all he does all day long is he writes letters and makes phone calls trying to get people fired, trying to get them, I mean, basically it's 1960 era cancel culture.
Yeah.
And of course, something suitably nasty happens to him, but the character is exactly like we're talking about, you
Yep.
know. And it's oh heck. Anyway, it'll come to me the episode, but yeah, anyway, everybody,
The old
everybody.
man on his typewriter to the city is what
mm,
Tortious Inquiry says.
That's not the. I don't think that's the name of the episode.
The episode is 40 clock.
40 o'clock. Yes,
40
I believe
o'clock.
that's correct. I believe that's correct. 4 o'clock. Sorry, 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, watch it. Yeah, it's well worth watching. Theodore Bickle, that's the guy. It's well worth watching. Of course, he is a far right wing loon in the show, right?
Yeah.
Anti-communist, anti this. But watch that episode, and it's like, oh my god, this 60 years ago, this prefigured the social media garbage that we're going through now. But here's the thing: if the woke, everyone is going to get canceled at some point. Yeah. But we've talked about this before. One of the things that there are certain qualities of lefties that I find fascinating, and one quality that I find most bizarre and fascinating is every liberal I've ever met honestly truly believes that they will be somehow excused from the consequences of their idiotic positions. Nobody else will be. Everyone else will have to toe the line, but somehow they won't. And
Yeah.
of course they're invariably they're the ones that are first up against the wall come the revolution.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Well, because they're useless. I mean, the
Right.
revolution's got no use for useless people.
No, they need workers. Like
Yeah.
once the socialists and the communists eventually take over, you need good workers for the party to do the work of all the people who you've just killed who were doing the work.
Mhm.
Like you kill or snuff out the manufacturing class, the farming class, or whatever, and then they have to appoint people into to do the agriculture, to do the manufacturing, to do the mining, to do all the labor, and they no longer need the propagandist. The propagandist
No.
becomes
Once the
useless.
revolution has happened, you're expendable.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I assume it's the same sort of instinct with these idiots, with the cancel culture loons. But yeah, if I were if it were in my power, I would simply ban social media. Well, because it's doing one thing that no one ever anticipated. Um, it's allowing the absolute vilest, craziest, most useless people to gang up into large mobs. You know, every every county has got a few loons in it, but before social media came along, there wasn't any way for those loons to reach out and contact 1,000 other just like them.
Right. And
That's the thing.
they turn 30 people into a problem for a major corporation. It's like it's 30 people.
Well, these corporations are way, they know exactly what they're doing. Their executives and their board are just trying to impress their country club friends. You know,
Yeah.
although I don't know if you saw Coca-Cola back down when that conservative group ran some ads against them, talking about how much they are contributing to adolescent obesity and how much money their CEO is making. And they went
Uh-oh.
after Coke. They went after Coke, Nike, and American Airlines. And of course, Nike and American Airlines doubled down, but Coke
Right.
backed off. They're like, "Listen, we're just trying to sell some sugar water here." Uh, you know, why would any wealthy Republican donor not be writing checks to them, not be writing checks to the Project Veritas?
Yep.
You know,
Right.
that's what, you know,
Yeah,
ooh,
Veritas is great. I'm probably gonna. They have a new. There's a new motion in their defamation case against New York Times that came out today, and so I'm gonna
oh,
probably have.
good,
I'm gonna have that covered.
good.
To well, it was a New York Times motion. They're asking for. So they passed anti-slap. New York Times appealed, or they've moved for an interlocutory appeal on the anti-slap, and then they moved. Now they've moved to stay discovery pending the outcome of the appeal.
Oh, hell yeah, because Discovery is the real prize.
Right, and that's
And
O'Keefe knows
Veritas
it.
is going to, well, sure. And the thing is, everybody's, well, they're the media. You have to show actual malice. You know what? I suspect you can. Because the
Oh
one thing about these idiots is
yeah.
they cannot keep their mouths shut.
Well, and
Have
that's
there been any more Ron-versations, by the way? Is
no,
that a thing of the past?
no. He has. I think once he read how much money I made off of him, that's when he stopped, and he talks about
It was brilliant of you. I got to tell you,
yeah.
man.
Look,
That was,
it's lightning in a bottle. You catch it every now and then, but
yeah, yeah.
he he has stopped messaging me. He occasionally talks about me, but it's way too much work to like try and find all the stupid little threads.
Oh yeah,
He
good God.
he did get really mad. So the other day, I happened to call a bunch of people fig trees, we'll say.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, a bunch of figs. I called them figs. That's what
Gaffs.
happened. I mean, I guess, if
Yeah.
you want, but I did go
Film
ahead and
Actors Guild members.
right, right. So I called him out, and then some sad puppy on Twitter clipped it and made a very scary like Silence of the Lambs video about how I'm apparently obsessed with destroying Monica Rial. I guess is my goal in life, which is weird because that is nowhere near
I
it.
can't imagine anybody less meaningful to you.
I know, I know,
It's like-
and so
I mean,
they
golly.
they got mad. They've done like another one or two videos because they're very popular amongst the small group of people. So I mean, I it's advertising for my show, so I don't care that much.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
But yeah, so they're putting out these videos, and so they're really mad. But Ron, like, he goes in on all those things, and he's like, I've been a target of his for years. I'm like, Ron, how did I target you? I've never reached out to you. You always reached out to me, and I merely responded. This is targeting. It's like a duck paints itself with the red and white circles on it, flies in the air and gets shot, and it's like, what the hell happened? What?
Oh, by the way, somebody mentioned it on the thing. I nearly died with that Cuck Simulator game when you had that guy on. In fact, I messaged Drexel and said, "How in the hell did you, me, or Nick not think of this?"
Yeah.
I have, I'm sitting in bed and my wife's asleep and I'm watching and I got the iPad turned way down so I don't wake her up, and I go over there to stream to look at the trailer and I'm just going.
It's genius. It's just
Oh my God.
it's great.
Anyway, somebody mentioned that in the stream. I just want to say, yeah, that was beyond. But I am embarrassed that you, Drexel, or me, none of us thought of that game.
Yeah. No, it was
that's humiliating, really.
that guy had it already. God had other purposes.
Apparently so, yes. It was just not part of God's plan for us.
Okay, DOG Bira says, Nick and Ty, which do you prefer and why? concealed carry reciprocity or constitutional carry? I prefer constitutional carry to concealed
Yeah.
carry reciprocity.
Yeah. Well, we passed in Texas, we passed constitutional carry.
Yeah.
So, and I actually, I got to say, I haven't read the bill yet, so I'm not up to speed on it. Yeah, I think constitutional carry is the way to go, just because that way it's your right, and you don't have to worry about two states getting their crap together and all that. So,
And so then he
you know,
follows up, should formal training be required before people can carry a loaded
no,
gun, even if it's just for safety reasons, or should the
no,
Second Amendment be absolute?
it should be absolute, and here's why: because the minute you put a training requirement on, guess what? The people that want to disarm you are going to use that as a tool. I
Yep.
mean, now if they want to talk about training, educational requirements for someone to get an abortion, maybe we can do some trading on that. But somehow I don't think that they would see that.
It's amazing. Well, every time they try to do anything like that, right, where they require a
Yeah,
meeting, they require a cooling off period for abortions. They have
yeah,
tried every effectively used gun measure. They have actually done them on abortions.
and it's been struck down every single time in every
Yep.
way. So there's no, that because here's the thing. Look, guys, it ain't that hard to learn how to use a gun and be safe. Here's one. Treat all guns as though they were loaded. Don't play with them.
It's also a
That's it.
it's a self-correcting problem.
Yeah.
Like if you
Well,
can't figure out how to use a gun safely, don't worry. You won't have too long
there's that
to
too.
deal with that.
Well,
issue.
I've noticed that a lot of these Antifa cosplayers that you can, you can always tell somebody that's never handled a weapon until very recently, because they play with them,
Right.
they pose with them, they wave them around, they do all that crap. If you grew up around guns, the idea of playing with a gun in any way, I mean, there, there's something in my reptilian brainstem that would cause me just to freeze up if I even tried to do that. Because
Right.
if an adult in our family ever caught you even looking at a gun too long, never mind touching it, but just looking at it too long, they just scoop you up and swat you. I mean,
Yeah.
well, because in my family there were guns everywhere. They were hunters, and I mean, there were gun racks, there were guns, stuck up in the corners, but no kid touched them. I mean,
Right.
it was,
Yeah.
nothing gets you.
I
But yeah,
remember I had a friend who had a disassembled gun, and I think, like, when I think back on it, I think it was actually it looked like a 9mm, but I believe it was a air gun, or like a CO2 gun, right?
mhm.
Because when I think back on it, it did not have a slide and a magazine, but I was little kid. And I remember we were playing with it at his house. It was completely non-functional. I mean, the thing didn't work. But I mean, I told my parents, I was like, "Oh yeah, I was playing with the gun." They're like, "What the hell were you doing?" Right? Like and I was like, "Well,
Well, and I know your parents too. So.
yeah." And I'm like, "Well,
Yeah.
it didn't work or whatever." And they're like, "No, you can't do that. You don't play with guns." And so even from a very young age, like the message has always been clear: you don't play with guns. Like
Not real
they're
ones,
not
no.
they're not
Mhm.
toys. You have toy guns. I had a
Yeah,
bunch of toy guns, right? And
yeah.
so there was no reason to be playing with this thing. I frankly have no idea why we even had it. Like the parents of this kid gave it to him to mess with.
Well,
But
it was
it is,
probably just an airsoft type
yeah.
thing, and those things, those things. None of my kids messed with them because I had daughters, and they just didn't. We just didn't go that way. But if I had a kid and they started messing with those things, I'd be very uncomfortable because they just look way too realistic. I don't know if you've noticed, there have been some liberal politicians lately that have been pranked, either knowingly or not. One of them found a packaging for a handgun just laying on the street, and it was an airsoft.
Good.
And then somebody else was showing off a gun they had found somewhere and how horrible it was, and it was an airsoft.
Yeah.
Yeah. But well, yeah, Clayton. Everybody of a certain age shoots each other with BB guns. That was
One pump.
oh
It only hurts
yeah,
a lot.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I dug a BB out of a friend's lip one time.
Oh,
So yeah, there's
uh,
almost no way you'll actually shoot your eye out. I mean,
it's almost not possible, but
almost not possible. Yeah.
uh,
Actually, I would prefer BB gun fights to rock fights.
oh man,
Um,
rocks are nasty.
yeah, yeah. That
I have to
was.
get after my kids all the time because they like, since they're homeschooled, they are never like bullied or beat up or anything, you know? So they like throw rocks at each other from time to time because they don't know how it feels to get hit by a freaking rock.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Well, let
I'm
them
like,
keep doing it. They'll figure it out
I'm like,
because
no, stop throwing rocks. Like here, you're gonna get hit by one of these. You're gonna really hate it.
yeah, yeah. I mean, but yeah, the little cheapy daisy BB guns of the '70s were, that was. I don't think there was a teenage boy in the South that didn't participate, at least not around these parts
Yeah.
in BB gun wars. My
Um.
mother, my mother would never have stopped beating on me if she had known that I was doing that.
uh. Marty Lund says, "Can we drag Ty back down to Anime Matsuri again this year? Conscript him onto your panel or something. They've got a beer garden this year. They put up the
Oh,
food truck menus online, and they also added a tabletop game room for your wargaming needs."
no, yeah, I'm gonna really try to go to that. I had a good time, 2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Can we
Yeah.
do cigars again and set off all the idiots?
Oh, absolutely.
That was beyond delightful.
Right. It'll be it was I've never seen so much hand wringing over something so innocuous.
On the stream, Ken's counseling couch is lamenting the wants a class action suit to bring back the original lawn dart toy. Thank you.
Man,
That was,
my
you know, how do you get? I mean, how do you not let those be sold to everyone?
my I'll tell you how. My kids were over at their cousin's house the other day and they were playing with bocce balls. And
Bocce balls.
yeah, they were
Bocce balls.
you know what
Hmm?
a bocce ball is, right?
Mm.
You've
I
never
probably
played.
do. I just don't know it as a
Okay, the
bocce ball.
bocce ball, you get you got a little wooden ball that you throw, and then you've got a big heavy ass ball that you throw, and you have two of them, and each person tries to get their ball closest to the little ball.
That would be the whitest kid's toy I've ever heard of.
You've never heard of bocce ball?
No, down here in Tech, no.
Are you
I
are
think
you
that's a Yankee thing, Nick.
are you serious?
Bocce? No.
Bocce is not Yankee; it's Italian, clearly. B
Well,
O C
okay.
BOCCE. Some people
I
call it lawn bowling.
hold on.
But
I'm looking.
lawn bowling is different. Lawn bowling has oblong shaped balls that roll. They lean one way or another when you throw them.
I got nothing. You know, maybe these things came along like right after I grew up or something.
Right after. Okay. Nope. Here we go. Let's see.
I didn't mean it that way.
Bocce ball. Let's see. When did bocce ball? Yeah.
I was looking on Wikipedia to find out.
Bocce.
It's popular in Croatia, Serbia, Montenegro, Bosnia, and Herzegovina. Um, I, I Anyway, well, let's skip on a bit. You had something to tell about the bocce balls.
Okay. Anyway, so the message is you throw the little shuttle ball, which that's about like the size of a golf ball. Okay.
Okay.
And then you've got the bigger ball that you have to try and get close to the shuttle ball. And so
Okay.
the big ones weigh like a couple pounds. And if they're
Ooh.
made of certain materials, they're like this, it's like a hard it's not like a stone, it's like a hard yeah, it's like an acrylic.
Yeah.
And then they have other ones that are plastic that are filled with like water or sand or whatever. And thank goodness these were the plastic squishy ones that are filled with water, because one of my kids chucked one, and then one of the cousins was running across the path of where the throwing was going
Whack.
and just got clocked. The little 4-year-old kid gets knocked in the head by this bocce ball. And it's like, oh my gosh. But yeah, lawn darts, those are no mercy, man. They weigh more than a bocce ball, and they have a metal death tip on them.
Abel Baker says it's the ancient precursor to croquet and bowling. I always think of Robin Williams talking about golf. You know,
Yeah.
it's like croquet, fuck croquet. By the
Oh,
way,
so
Your Uncle Paul does that routine better and funnier than Robin Williams. Just
well,
for
well,
reference.
probably now especially.
Well,
Uh,
yeah, that's true. But even when Robin Williams, you know, was not room temperature,
right. I heard he killed his final crowd. I mean, it was
yeah.
terrible, terrible joke. Kermit the Frog says, hey Ty, long time no see. How are you getting about celebrating the gay month? I've got another hand shoved up my ass while Miss Piggy getting ran through by Monica. It's your fault, chat, why they think I'm targeting Monica. You
They're
guys,
just at some point they're just goading you, aren't they?
you guys bring her up. I don't. I can't do that much lifting. Terrible.
Nice.
Mr. Schwagen says, hey guys, I wanted to get your answer to this hypothetical. If you could whisper something into the founders' ears when writing the Constitution, what would it be? Mine would be limited reporting on alleged criminals since presumption of innocence.
Mine would be no executive agencies.
That's a good one. Mine would be right after you put shall not be infringed, say, we really fucking mean it.
We really mean this. Yeah, yeah. We're not, this is not to protect you from being killed by the deers.
Yeah.
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 No, that's
yeah. Shall not be infringed because it's about individual liberty and freedom from tyranny. Both of those things. Not deer hunting and not a militia and not oppression of the blacks, by the way, because that's the new book by the I'm going to
despite the fact that the NRA began as a civil rights organization. That's amazing.
I'm going to send you an article by a history PhD, and it is going to make you so happy. So happy.
Well, you know, I've over the years I've tangled with a few history PhDs, and it's always fun because I got halfway to a PhD in history before I, you know, decided to go to law school.
Yeah.
And so I have a doctorate in history. I'm like, yeah, mine's bigger. You know? Well, the thing is, I happen to, you know, I've been a liberal arts graduate student, and I've been to law school, and there ain't no comparison.
Yeah.
As to the workload and the intensity and the competitiveness, law school wins hands down. And I suspect in areas like physics and that type of thing, graduate school might approach law school in difficulty, but liberal arts not a chance.
You heard it here, guys. Ty is a liberal artist.
Yeah. Actually, two things that I can't do, but that's.
Richard says, Ty, I'm glad you like the cane. I may be contacting you in a professional manner a bit later after a few property surveys. In addition,
Cool.
I may be a bit late, but please beat Nick with your cane when you head north.
Well, at least got to wave it around. You know, I mean, that was the thing. That was maybe the funniest chat I've ever seen on your shows. When I was a full scale rant, and someone said we need to have a GoFundMe to buy a Ty cane. That was well played. Thank you, Richard. I've gotten a thorough kick out of this cane. Plus, like I said, I actually have used it. My knee isn't hurting too bad. But fortunately, I'm going to the doctor tomorrow to get it fixed, because if I don't, it will be pretty bad if, you know, at some point.
That's the thing about getting old, right? Your body gives you a warning. And then it's like, I told you this is coming.
Yeah. The thing is, the problem is, of course, the warnings will, you know, everything hurts. So it's kind of like, Oh, I got a recommendation for a show. You're probably already familiar with it. Have you seen the Kaminsky method?
No.
Okay, I think it's Netflix. Michael Douglas, Alan Arkin. It's basically a bunch of 70-something-year-old people in Hollywood just being grumpy old bastards. It's glorious. I discovered it last weekend. My wife found it, and it's I am going to have to bring this into court. That's a good point. Somebody in the stream said, yeah. Yep. I know. Yeah. Sorry, I was about to say something was going to get me in trouble with the state bar.
You need to stop. You need to stop.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to drink this Buchanan's Deluxe Scotch.
Oh,
It's got a fancy ball stopper.
you said ball stopper.
Yeah, it's like a valve, so it only pours when it's like basically vertical to start.
Oh,
I don't.
okay.
It's weird. My very Mexican barber tells me this is the scotch all the Mexicans drink. Uh,
Okay.
that's,
Huh.
that's what he says. I don't
I,
know.
I'm not up on liquor lore, so but
But apparently,
it's like,
if you go to like a quinceanera or whatever, it's like on all the tables. There's bottles of Buchanan's everywhere.
yeah, I just never would have thought of scotch as being a big drink for Mexican folks, but why not? I mean,
It's actually, you know what? It's a blended scotch. It's like $40 and it's really pretty decent. Like I'm not gonna lie. Not gonna lie, it's good stuff. Okay, bad vibes. Says Ty, you need to learn to stop kicking for the head. Just kick ass. You don't have to lift your legs so high.
yeah, well, yeah, that's well, what the funny thing is when I hurt myself doing that, it wasn't the first time. It was the second time. You know, first time it's like, hey, I can't believe I pulled that off. So let's do it again. Yeah, that's
Yep. Don't.
yeah.
Don't. 2012 Jameson says, so my business landlord is trying to raise electricity rates from $400 a month to $1,400 a month. Reason the February freeze, fun times. Also, when you come to Dallas, you got to stop in medical clinic for knee or else.
Yeah, I think my if I don't get it fixed here, I probably will do something like that. But my doc is pretty certain that he can fix it. And he's a really sharp doctor. So
Man,
we'll give him a
400 to
chance.
1,400 a month. What? So they must be averaging out the February freeze.
Yeah, there was that thing where they rolled the blackouts over the gas plants.
Didn't
And
didn't Paxton sue all the energy companies and get them to back down on
I,
that?
I thought he did too. So, my comment would be to your landlord, I would demand proof that those rates were actually billed and paid.
Yeah.
Your lease I'm sure your lease gives you the right to audit
Right,
the
because
charges.
you could argue that's a constructive eviction without cause or something like that if they're just trying to jack the rates improperly on something like that where they're
I wouldn't pay it. For one thing, now this is obviously generalizing, but for one thing, commercial real estate is in the toilet.
yeah.
And so, I promise you can find someplace else to go and probably for a lot less per square foot or a lot nicer for the same price.
So
But
it's weird that it's not weird that commercial real estate's in the toilet because a whole bunch of businesses went out of business.
yeah.
So a whole bunch of property opened up. But the interesting thing is I think residential housing it's booming and I think
Oh,
it's
it's
going to
insane.
and because
Uh,
build prices are so freaking high.
well, Nick, I put your grandmother's house up, and I think 2 days we
Yeah.
had three offers,
Right.
and they were all more than the asking price. So, yeah, it's just, I mean, it was a very nice home. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, it was crazy.
Right. Maybe you undervalued the home. You're fired.
I did not. I did not. I had all the beneficiaries in agreement.
Frosthammer says, Ty Rackets pump and munch stream when? Oh, I got to get there.
What now? What is
Okay.
this again?
So, do you remember the taser cop who shot the guy in the Minneapolis suburb?
Oh yeah, yeah. Accidentally shot instead of tasered.
Right. And oh shit, I shot him.
Yeah.
Oh, her
Well,
trial's
that's
going to
what's.
be a fiasco.
Oh, if you're a cop and you get put on trial up there, you're dead. I mean, I don't know how anybody that would have options would be in law enforcement in a blue state. I know the money's
Yeah.
good, but good grief.
It's that is going to be great. I think her trial's in November, so I'm looking forward to covering that. But so during the protests that happened right after that, the cops moved all the protesters. I was watching a live stream of this commie guy who was there, right? Like he's he's Antifa. And then, of course, he's got 200 assholes from my stream watching his show, which is so funny. He kept muting people and stuff and kicking them out of the chat.
That is funny.
He's super nice guy. He's super nice guy from what I can tell. But he is clearly like a full-on Antifa guy. And so we're watching his stream, and they kept moving. The cops came up and they would tell the journalists, they're like, we're moving you. Here's the safe spot you can go to next. We're going to move people down the block this way. So you go here. And then they're like, and get the hell out. And so then the journalists would go move, and then they would move the protesters, right? Like they'd physically impose them. Well, eventually they got to a gas station. They back up, and the gas station is called the Pump and Munch.
No, really?
And it's like, oh man.
That may be the best gas station name I've ever heard in my life. The Pump Munch.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Lord.
Oh, I saw something weird in the chat. Anyway, so I've been saying next time I'm anywhere near Brooklyn Center, I'm gonna go to the Pump and Munch. I have to drive some people to the airport on Thursday. So I think I might have to go.
Get a selfie at least.
Yeah.
About a sign. I mean, that's
got tight. There was this girl, white as the driven snow, out at the protest, and she's like, "You shooting our people!" And then she's yelling. She's like, she yells, "Them buildings have life insurance, but our people don't have life insurance." And I'm like,
you keep using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means.
Yeah, it was. Oh God.
It was, well, you've got to know that non-white liberals find white liberals every bit as annoying as we do.
Yeah. Oh,
I mean,
God. I'm not going to show the clip. I don't have it loaded up. I don't have. I'd have to go to the stream and pull it. It's a pain.
Totally random, but something that you ought to look at. There's a music video that may be the most 80s music video ever made. It's called One Night in Buckhead. Bucche. Buckhead is apparently a very affluent suburb of Atlanta. And do you remember One Night in Bangkok, the song by Murray Head? This is a parody of that song.
No.
But yeah, it's a funny parody, but it was made in 1985, and I mean, it looks like it was made in 1985.
I pulled it up to play later. I can't play it on the stream because of the music, but I'll definitely give it a look. Speaking of the 80s, I watched I've been watching some great movies here, Ty, and there are two 80s movies that have become two of my favorite movies ever.
Okay.
One is Society.
Huh.
Society is about it's a rich kid in Beverly Hills, and how do you even describe Society to someone, guys? You've got to watch.
Oh
Society.
yeah, it's just an 89 film.
It's the movie got done and my jaw was on the floor. I had to roll it up with like a garden hose crank to get it back to my face.
Body horror. Yeah, that's why I didn't see it. I'm not a huge fan of that.
Oh, no, that movie is phenomenal. There's nothing.
Well, no, I'm just explaining why I was unfamiliar with it. It isn't a genre that I particularly cared about.
So it's it's
Society.
It's called body horror as a genre, I guess, mostly because the last like 10 minutes or 20 minutes of the movie gets really, really weird, but it's really a psychological thriller the whole way through. But it's amazing. And then the other one I watched was Savage Streets with Linda Blair, which is
Savage Streets,
which should be the iconic teen high school movie because it's so
better than
good.
Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I mean,
Ty, it is amazing.
What is it? Tell me the title again.
Savage Streets.
Savage Streets. That sounds familiar. I may have seen that one. Yeah, it's an 84 film. I bet I did.
Oh, Savage Streets was so good.
Well, there was a time period in there from about around 83, 84, where I think I saw nearly every movie made. It was sort of almost like just a thing we did. Then I met the woman that later became my wife, and so that stopped. But yeah, it had it had Dean Wormer in it.
Yeah. Oh, and he's awesome. He's calling
He,
people gamer words left and right.
he's,
Like, that's because
he
you're a
is
bunch of faggots.
fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son. He takes the reading glasses off. Yeah,
Oh, man.
a very underrated actor. I'm pretty sure I did see that. I don't have any great memories of it or anything, but I'm pretty sure I did.
I have tons of great
Um,
memories of it because I just watched
I
it.
saw it. Yeah,
Oh, God.
yeah.
If you're ever looking for some nostalgia, Savage Streets and Society, they're great.
You have seen Fast Times at Ridgemont High, right?
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've
Okay.
seen it, though. But
Well,
yeah,
with your sudden interest in all things '80s, that is the quintessential '80s high school movie.
it's great. It's not on Amazon Prime. Last I
Oh, okay,
checked.
that's right. Yeah, I was going
So
to ask you. So, is Star Trek the original series on Amazon Prime?
I don't
Yes,
think it is
yes, it
right.
is.
Oh, it is.
I think it is. Yeah,
I
it's
know
coming up.
a bunch of it's on there, but I never know. Oh, excuse me. I don't remember which ones are on there.
The reason I ask is we always agonize over what kind of watch party we get. We ought to just do some Star Trek episodes. Some of the really bad ones.
Ooh, they take a special kind of watching nowadays.
Well, let me rephrase that. There's some really super good ones that we could watch that would be good, but we do need to do Spock's brain. I mean, you know, brain and brain. What is brain? I mean, two of the worst Star Trek episodes are actually wonderful because they're an effervescent kind of bad, right? a frothy a frothy bad that just makes me smile every time I see them. There are some other ones that are just bad. You just kind of go, ah, God. Who thought that? Who in their right mind could have thought that'd be a good episode?
Oh, and we also watched another classic movie. I think this was 70s though. It was called Gas Pump Girls. Have you seen Gas Pump Girls?
Yes, and it was '70s. Yeah,
it was glorious.
That was a whole genre of its own. The noun girls. It was cheerleaders and yeah. That was. And then I think somewhere along the line somebody went, wait a minute, those girls are all under 18.
No, they not in this one.
Yeah, but I mean, Oh, by the way, a recommendation for a classic old '70s series. I just in fact I finished watching the series. Did you ever hear of a series called Kolchak the Night Stalker?
Yes.
It had Darren McGavin, the father from Christmas
I never
Story.
watched it, but I've heard of it. Yeah.
It's pretty damn good. There were two movies. The first one was The Night Stalker, and the second was the Night Strangler, and then they made a series. And the series only went for one season, but it's really good. The Way to Eden. Yep, that is. There you go. Don't be a Herbert, Nick. Just
okay.
Don't be a Herbert.
I would never be anything called a Herbert.
Nope.
Okay, so anyway, he says Pump and Munch stream when. Back to Frosthammer's chat here. Ty, history buff question. Was Longstreet wrong, or was Lee's plan so foolish it wouldn't have mattered?
I think Longstreet was right. So what he's getting at is he's talking about the third day at Gettysburg, Pickett's charge and all that. So what happened is the northern line was kind of like in sort of a fishhook shape. Lee had hit the ends of the Yankee line on the previous 2 days, and so he was going to attack them right up the middle. And the theory was it'd split the army in two, and they'd win the victory. And Longstreet was a very calculating. Longstreet was one of those guys that understood warfare had changed, and he did the math. And he urged Lee and tried to talk him into shifting and maneuvering around. See, the Confederates earlier on, the Confederates did a great job of this, and Lee did too. They'd just go grab defensible terrain and let the North break their teeth out trying to root them out of the terrain. And
yeah, I don't see the advantage of splitting an army down the middle and then basically forcing yourself into a pincer.
Well, no, you got to remember these are the days of linear tactics, though. The entire army is in a line that's like 5 guys deep.
Yeah.
So if you break through, I mean, that pretty well destroys an army. But the problem is they had to march across about a mile of open terrain against massive numbers of massive amounts of Union artillery and stuff. Lee just had a bad. That was maybe the worst day of his career. The third day at Gettysburg. But now on the other hand, Lee's argument was that after fighting for 2 days to then try to, maneuver around the Yankees, that the Army would have interpreted that as a defeat. I don't think that's likely. I think the Confederate Army, as long as Lee was in command, the Confederate Army, the Army of Northern Virginia, thought they could win. But yeah, I think Longstreet's very underrated in my opinion. I think he was the movie Gettysburg. Tom Berenger does a great job as Longstreet. Um, Recommend it very highly. But yeah, you know, in fact, in that movie, he's sitting there, he's musing about the coming fight, and he's talking to someone, but he's talking to the audience, right? The person
Right.
that's stand in for us, and he says, it's a mathematical equation, and he's going through. They're going to get cut apart. They're going to, and he goes, maybe it'll work, and he goes, nah, those are Hancock's boys. Winfield Hancock, one of the best of the Union commanders. Those are Hancock's boys. They aren't going to break and run, and he just, so yeah, I think that Longstreet was just one of those guys that understood war had changed. The Civil War is actually the first modern war. It has a lot more in common with World War One than the Napoleonic Wars.
Sure.
And Lee's an interesting character. He's truly one of the great captains in history. But Gettysburg was maybe his worst day ever.
Let's see. You are awesome. He finishes up. You are awesome.
Oh.
Just tied though. Racket sucks. So there you go.
Tough crowd, Nick.
Look, this is my entire life.
Yeah.
Justin Watkins says, question for Ty. When will it be time to finally storm the hospitals and take our foreskins back?
I don't know.
Tomorrow, my dude. Go for it.
I need to think that one through before I answer.
Be there at 11.
I'll get back with you. We'll circle back.
2012 Jameson says, Ty, my vision is 20/2000 in my good eye without glasses. So even though Texas has Braille on the road, it is safer for me not to drive. To be fair, if I could drive, I would have already driven from Dallas to meet you.
Oh, thank you. I found that so interesting that the drive-through ATM machines have Braille
Yes.
on the keys. And it's like, well, that way when blind people drive up and want to use the ATM, I guess, I don't.
You wouldn't want to discriminate against them.
No, of course not. Of course not.
Blackwind KFP Inquisitor says, quick question for Ty. Which Imperial Guard regiment in 40K is your personal favorite lore-wise?
Oh, crap. What's their names? The ones that dress as 19th century Brits.
That's all of them.
No. There was a regiment back in like second and third edition, and I think they may have brought them back. Oh, what were they called? Anyway, they're pretty cool. I like the Rambo regiment too.
The Rambo regiment is the Catechin.
Catechin, the Catechin, yeah.
Yeah.
I got a bunch of those.
Are you talking about the Praetorian Guard?
I think that's correct. I think that's correct. Their uniforms are just basically, Zulu War era British uniforms. The red with the blue trousers and all that. So yeah.
You should look up the. I'm going to send you a video on the Mordant Acid Dogs sometime because they're hilarious.
The Mordant acid dogs.
Yes.
Okay. But are they going to be as good as the Emperor's fluffy bunnies? That was a 40K army I made for Brianna way back when she was little. I painted them in pink and had a little fluffy. Took the Playboy bunny, silhouette, and just opened its mouth and had lots of teeth sticking.
There you go.
And made some decals and all that
stuff. Tina says, "Oh God, whoops." Ty has an alcohol-filled cane and battery-filled glasses. What's next?
Really, there's no limit. I mean, yeah, I am definitely going to fill this sucker up with whiskey, though. I mean, I've got to do that. I've got to take that to the convention. I normally bring some Cuban cigars because a lot of some of our friends, they smoke, and so I'll go out and do the cigars with them. But this is awesome.
Ben Graziano says, dang, it's a small world. Just moved to Tyler in January. Now I know what I'm doing this weekend. See you at the con, Ty.
Okay. Come on by. We'll be there. Um,
Uh,
I'll, like I said, I'm not running anything officially, but I'm going to probably be running some stuff, in the tables and stuff. I know the girl, we're going to play Traveler. That's been requested by one of my game company clients, and so
Joseph says Nick is already bored with this stream. I am so tired today. You have no idea. Like I am, we've had some guests in from out of town, and they're wonderful. But that also means that I haven't been, like sitting down taking a nap during the day or whatever. And so, like today, man, I grilled a pork belly, and I had
and that's not a metaphor, right? I mean, you actually
no, yeah,
grilled a.
I went to Costco for
It
the
ought to
first
be a
time ever.
metaphor. It ought to be a metaphor.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But I went to Costco for the first time ever, and
Oh, sorry.
they actually they sold, like a full 10-pound pork belly, which you can't buy around my house. So I got one and I grilled it today. It was great, but good lord, I am
Pork, the other
wiped
white
out.
meat.
Right. Music and Fiction says, "Good evening, counselors. Mr. Beard, our mutual friend, General Scott of Lafayette, says hello. Question: now that everything is open in Texas, what is your practice going to look like in this post-Mushu flu, pre-bird flu world?"
We're back to normal. I mean, there was we never really shut down. I mean, we had, there were aspects of the COVID stuff that were rough on us, but yeah, clients coming back. I got the vaccine. I don't know. I can't remember when I was last on the show. So, because I have lots of elderly clients and I have a, immune compromised family member. So, I think I lost some conservative cred when I did that, though. I put it up on Facebook, like, oh, like, guys, it's a business decision. Man's got to make a living. I did notice, however, I got the vaccine and it didn't make me any smugger or more self-righteous or smarter or anything. So I was surprised by that.
But did it give you autism?
Not yet, but hope springs eternal on that. Yeah, the whole mask thing is just, I knew it. I knew that the Branch Covidian religious fanatics weren't going to give up their religion easily, but they really are just be clowning themselves.
Oh yeah, it's
did
getting
you see
crazy.
that flight attendant get her teeth knocked out?
I did.
Good.
And then the funny thing is the witness, like the witness that they had was like she was being extremely rude to the customer.
This is a recurring theme over the last year. How many times have we seen some out of control flight attendant escalating some situation into something? And I'm kind of glad she got her teeth knocked out, frankly. She told the woman put a mask on. The woman apparently did comply, but didn't comply to her satisfaction. She was going to tell the pilot. The woman said, "Fine, go tell the damn pilot." And then she just goes berserk. Anyway, one thing about the COVID, one thing this COVID thing has done is really showed just how many batshit crazy people there are.
Yeah.
It but I won't fly. I am not going to sit on an airplane for 2.5, 3 hours or however long with a mask on. I'm done. I am so done with masks.
Oh, I got used to it real quick. I just fell asleep with it on. It was easy.
Well, I have a very mild form of anxiety, I guess, whenever I put them on. It's not really claustrophobia, but I don't like it. I mean, it's noticeably bad. And yeah, as somebody points out in the chat, they keep doing research to prove that masks are effective, and the research keeps coming back going, no, they're pretty much pointless.
Look, I have to say this for the purposes of YouTube.
That masks are wonderful and everyone should wear them.
We are not making recommendations about anything, and we are not questioning the experts. Everybody should listen to all of the experts' opinions, and then they should make healthcare decisions that are appropriate with the consultation of their personal healthcare provider. We are not in any way discouraging or dismissing the opinions of the experts or people's personal healthcare providers. So, uh,
Ty, you'd wear one as a fighter pilot. Yeah, I wear a CPAP now, and that would be very similar. You get air. The mask you wear as a fighter pilot, air comes in, and that does make a difference.
Ty,
Um,
I'm gonna share my screen with you here.
okay.
Because
He
this is
said he
a
said with a sense of dread
oh
and fear.
it messed up. Hold on, it messed up my screen. Let me do it this way. This is a real product.
Okay.
This is not a joke. This is not a drill. I have to take your face off, unfortunately. Um, Here we go. Look at this, guys.
I
Do you
can't
see
see
this?
anything. I can't. It said Ricada Law is presenting, but I'm not. Let me see if I maybe if I unpin. Well, that didn't work. Hold on. Why can I not see it? It says you're presenting.
Click on my face or whatever.
Well, I've got you. Okay, hang on. Let me see here. Oh God.
It's a pillow.
Yeah.
But this isn't a joke. This is a real product. Ty, this is the greatest ad I've ever seen.
I think I think I'm in agreement. Well, and it's truth in advertising too. Really, I mean,
Well, look at this. Hold on. Look at look at how this person is sleeping. Ty, I'm dying.
wow, that might be equal to the other greatest product ever, which is the yodeling pickle.
this is
It,
this is
that's
just face buried in an ass.
the the buttress. Oh, of course.
Look, you can get them in the regular one. The oh my god one is for a big curvy butt if you need one.
And and probably you can get a discount on Big Butts, the song.
I think I'm gonna order one.
I think you have to. Yeah. Wow.
Sorry, I saw that today and I was like, oh my
Ah.
god, I have got to show.
Well,
I've
isn't
never
capitalism glorious?
I've never heard of it. I was on Instagram, which is always a mistake because I always get ads on Instagram while you're scrolling through, and that thing came up, and I was like, this is clearly someone's fake like Instagram fake ad that they made. No, it's a real website, and I was like,
Well, it's so funny. You just about have to make one for real. I mean, it's.
yeah. I think I'm gonna have to buy one.
Did
I
you
don't know.
see Eddie Murphy's triumphant return to Saturday Night Live some months back?
No, I cannot stomach the idea of Saturday Night Live.
Well, yeah, and I fully appreciate that and support it. But Eddie Murphy shows up as one of his one. You know, he had any number of great characters when he was on the show, but maybe the best was Velvet Jones from the Velvet Jones School of Technology.
Okay.
And it was yeah, it was basically he was flogging it. But ladies, would you like to make $1,500 a week and never leave the comfort of your own bedroom? Order my book. I want to be a hoe. So anyway, he's on Black Jeopardy, and every
Right.
time he bleeps, he starts trying to shill. I want to be a hoe. And Keaton Thompson, who is actually the only member of that cast that is funny, because Mr. Jones, we can't talk about that now. So finally, he says he shills a second book. Well, okay, I got a different book, and he starts doing the other, and the other is I want to be an Instagram hoe.
Oh, oh no.
It's hysterical. To get the full impact, though, you need to watch the original Velvet Jones School of Technology commercial. But yeah, I want to
Oh,
be an Instagram hoe.
I'll go look up the old skits. I cannot like
Oh
man,
no,
the
no,
new
God,
it's
no,
so bad
no,
now.
no.
Blackhawks 81H says the CG Jayhawks and Army Blackhawks can both break 200-mile-per-hour with ease for short times.
Well, what I was saying was, though, when they're flying Napa the Earth, which is the way you normally fly in a combat zone, that's literally 10, 15 feet off the ground kind of stuff. They don't fly full speed. They can't.
Right.
But yeah, there is actually though a very finite limit to helicopter speed, and it's a little over 200 miles an hour. I'm not a physics guy, but I think it has something to do with the rotors. At some point, the rotors can't
He
producing more
says
lift or something.
he
So,
says the Jayhawk has a 7-hour endurance at cruising speed of around 160. The new
yeah.
Sikorsky S-79 can hit 250. Military helicopters are not slow.
That's pushing, but that's pushing the limits of the technology. That's why the tilt rotor aircraft, the V-22 Osprey, that's one of its advantages, is it can fly substantially faster than a helicopter. But the thing is, remember in World War II, a slow plane that was a clay pigeon could fly 250 miles an hour. So that's still not very fast, especially when you're up in the air. you know. Um, but yeah,
If
but
they
I was
go, if you turn them upside down, if you go inverted,
that
they
probably worked.
they go
Yeah,
really fast straight down.
yeah, yeah. The Chinook is actually extremely fast, although which is counterintuitive. It's a huge, clumsy looking helicopter, but I think it may still be the fastest in service. I mean, I don't know.
Tom says, "Hey Nick, thanks for your streams, getting me through some rough times. I'm the guy whose parents had a stroke and brain cancer, and both in the hospital. Would you mind sharing
Oh
the
man,
GoFundMe I linked in DMs last week? Thanks. I gotta find it. It was last week, and my DMs moved down. Let me see. You might have to just re-up the. Oh wait, nope. I got it. I think. Nope, different one. Yeah, re-tag me or re-DM me or something, and maybe I can put it up for a minute. The Sultan of Zanzibar says, Ty, the faith of lefties leaves even evangelists in awe of their conviction.
boy, that's true.
It really is.
That's yeah.
Stupid Monkey Zero says, glad to see you and Ty, Nick. I don't know if you remember me telling you, but I graduated Navy boot camp recently and will be stuck in holding for the next few months, so I'll have plenty of time to catch up on what I missed.
Congratulations.
Good luck, buddy.
And a worthy career.
Stooge Muffin 7 says the WW2 Aleutian Islands campaign was peak military retardation.
Yeah. Yeah, a big nasty fight over something no one wants.
Andrew War Snowboard says, did you hear that the Minnesota Lynx have signed Laisha Clarendon, the first trans player in league history? I have heard that. We'll see. We'll see how she
What sport
does.
is that? I mean,
that's basketball, women's basketball.
Oh, yeah.
The WNBA. It'll be really
People
interesting.
Even watch that?
No.
Okay, I didn't think so.
No, the top salary on the WNBA is laughable. The number one salaried player makes something like $112,000 a year,
and it's probably overpaid.
Oh yeah. No, nobody cares about that sport.
Yeah. So I have an interesting theory about the NBA, by the way.
Okay.
My wife has gone out and bought food over the last few weeks, and so there's Oreo has an NBA cookie promotion thing that they're selling for half price. I've never in my life seen Oreo cookies sell for half price before.
Touche.
And it's only the NBA packaging too. Now they are that double thick cream filling, and I know there are strong religious beliefs about this. They're not to but anyway.
I will first let me say this: the double stuff is better than the regular.
Well, again, every man should be allowed the faith of his convictions.
They can be allowed the faith of their convictions, just sometimes they're wrong. But
ironically, my son-in-law, who has been compared to you, says the same thing. So
the mega stuff is garbage. See, there is a too much. The double stuff,
and maybe that's what I'm talking about, Nick. It's pretty. Yeah, I mean, it's like a quarter of an inch. I don't know if it's quite that thick, but it's pretty.
Yeah, the mega stuffs are really nasty. The double stuffs for me are perfect because I dip them in milk, and that like the cream is like the cement that holds your cookie together. Because if you got just the regular one, you hold it in the milk too long, gets all floppy and falls apart. But on the double stuff, it doesn't do that as much.
Physics of cookies and milk.
Exactly. But that being said, I have one time I went to a store and they were $1 a package for
Wow.
Oreos. It was
Wow.
after Christmas and they were the Christmas Oreos at Target. And I was like, you are joking. I grabbed all of them. I'm walking through
I'll
Target
have all your Oreos.
I'm walking through
Stop.
Target with a stack of 9.
Yeah, stop. You think you heard me say I want a lot of Oreos. I don't. I want all of your Oreos. Classical reference.
Yep, yep.
Well, the thing is, I mean, this is like for several weeks in a row now that Tori's been able to find these Oreos, and I'm like, wow, NBA must really be stinking up the joint.
Everybody
you know,
like I mean the NBA is a joke.
oh yeah,
They started with the woke stuff and then with COVID everybody realized that they don't really need to watch. I mean is the biggest that is the biggest anathema to sports is the break. Because the way sports are set up, you know, they have overlapping seasons, but you're basically always at every time of the year you have a sport to watch at least, and sometimes two. But when they started with the COVID stuff and locking them down, and people realized how, I think my theory is they realized how much money they saved.
Oh yeah, time and money, no question. I when the NFL started that kneeling shit, I finally was like, you know what, enough's enough. I'm done with these people.
Yeah.
And it was like all of a sudden I got like a whole weekend back.
Yeah.
I really hadn't thought about how much time I would spend watching football.
And if you go to the games, I mean, you're out hundreds of dollars a game just for
I used
one
to have
person.
10 season tickets to to Texas Stadium, so yes,
yeah, you're familiar with how much.
Yeah. Well, a client owed me a bunch of money, and I took these tickets, which had been bought by his dad when they were playing in the Cotton Bowl, and they were wonderful. They were like 40-yard line, lower section, on the aisle.
But even if you go with season tickets, and you take a couple people to a game, and just on concessions you're out $200.
Oh well, to a modern stadium, so they built Jerry World. When I had these tickets, and if you had season tickets in Texas Stadium, you were given a preference opportunity to buy comparable tickets in Jerryland. And don't quote me too hard on these numbers. As I recall, I think the flyaway cost per game per seat worked out to around $180 when I was at Texas Stadium. These were nice seats, and that included parking and everything. That's amortized. You have to pay full price for those preseason tickets, which is asinine. So taking that line into account, the cost in Jerry World for the same type seating was literally 5 times higher. It was like $900 a seat a game, and I almost, but then they lost that playoff game to the Giants. Jerry was being clever. We had beaten the Giants twice in the regular season, and were expected to go romping through the playoffs. And so he had the deadline set up so that we had to make our decision on the Monday after that playoff game, which would have been brilliant had the Cowboys won. but I had to rebate $20,000 because I had sold with the playoff tickets you buy them all.
Yeah.
And I had sold a bunch of them on eBay for the next playoff game, and I had to reverse that 20 grand back, and that just put me in a foul mood.
Yeah, that'll do it.
My Cowboys consultant, the guy that sells me, he's a nice guy. He calls me up the next morning and he says, "How you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm doing okay. How are you doing?" He goes, "Well, it's a kind of a rough morning." I said, "Yeah, I bet." I said, "Well, I got some bad news for you." I said, "I'm out." I said, I just can't justify this kind of price." And,
yeah, it's absurd.
I'd be better off just buying my clients home theater systems.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, it's insane how much they cost, and the way TV prices are, you could buy a nice TV and surround sound system and a couch.
In fact, I took your grandfather to a game in a box in the new stadium. A client had wasn't using them and gave them to me, and so I took your granddad and your 2 uncles to a Cowboys game. He had a great time. I don't know what your grandma was doing. She might have
She,
gone with us too.
I mean, if she was
Yeah,
conscious and
there's
not
no
there,
way. I was going to say no. There's no way she didn't go with
you
us.
would have all been shot upon
Yeah.
arriving
No,
back.
no. She was there. She was definitely there.
Uh,
Uh,
two
yeah.
hundred 200 Watt Studio has this specific chat for you. Okay. Hey Ty, good to see you. Monica says hi, but her mouth is full of water, so hard to understand. How's the weather there? It's mosquito season here, so I'm in my basement. No windows.
Thank you.
Bad Vibe says, okay, legal question. If a state has both a red flag law and a state-operated mental health hotline, if an individual utilizes the hotline, can the state use it against you in a red flag case?
Probably.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, that whole red flag thing is bullshit. I mean, that's that's an open sore for anti-gun loons.
Yeah, it's
You know,
yeah, and the red flag thing, it needs to go. And
keep hoping the Supreme Court will have the balls to actually hear a Second Amendment case and rule correctly. But
well, so they didn't hear a Second Amendment case. They do have one coming, but it's kind of a lame one. It's about carrying in New York City or whatever. But they did a Fourth Amendment case. Did you see this one where the guy he agreed to go for a mental evaluation, but he told him, I'll go, but you can't take my guns.
Right? Yes, I did see that one. And they struck it, and it was a 9-0 decision too.
9-0 decision. And what I found more important in that is in the actual written opinion. And I don't think this would survive 9-0 on this one, but they basically said this is not considering a red flag situation because that statute was written after this case. However, the fact pattern would be very similar.
So they were signaling that,
yeah, there was some indication that a red flag case may indeed, at least as far as the conservatives on the court go the same way as this case, and it should.
Of course,
it's a deprivation of rights without any process.
I think it came as the most devastating shock to Democrats and to liberals and to wussy Republicans when the Supreme Court and Heller said, actually the Second Amendment does in fact mean something.
Yeah.
I honestly think that everybody just thought, who cares what that says?
Well, it clearly was a shock and still is, because despite the fact that Scalia said it meant something, because the case wasn't about specifically what Scalia was saying, right? Like the case was about, can you be required to have a disassembled gun in your home? The ruling is not expansive to get to can you carry it on the street, which is baffling because, of course, by the plain text of the Second Amendment, and Thomas said this in one of his dissents or one of his concurring opinions. I don't remember which one it was specifically, but he says, I find it hard to believe the founding fathers wrote the Second Amendment considering someone would carry a gun from their living room to their kitchen.
Yeah.
Because that's what Heller says, is you can carry it in your house. And that's where a lot of current media legal analysts are saying, oh no, it just protects your right to keep and bear arms inside your home, which is nonsensical.
No, it is. And it did confirm an individual right, though.
Yes.
Although as I recall, a lot of it was based on the right of self-defense.
Yep.
Which I found interesting too.
It's a right of self-defense, and he basically limited it to handguns.
It was popular, common weapons. And of course, that means banning the horrible, scary looking guns that scare wussy liberals, the AR-15s.
Well, but the funny thing is
problematic.
that was the thing. He says it. I think he said in the decision that it didn't go as far as the AR-15.
Well, I know, but what I'm saying is the criteria.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and see when they did the decision, this may not have been the case, but the AR-15 is now the most popular gun in America.
Right.
And by the way, I think we all really need to thank the Democrats and Biden for this massive increase in the number of guns. Uh, I wish I had owned a gun store when Obama got elected because they have had nothing but high cotton ever since then.
When they can get ammo in stock.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I mean, but yeah, it's yeah. By the way, did you, speaking of Biden, I guess you
uh-oh.
saw that him creeping on the what was it, 10-year-old, 9-year-old little girl.
Saying she looked like she was 17 or 19 or
Well,
whatever. Yeah.
I remember when I showed some women that I knew that were ambivalent about voting for Trump, and I showed them the video of Biden creeping on women, and it took about 90 seconds of that before they went, "Oh my God, he really is a predator." Yeah, he really is. When you see him creeping on women, he absolutely knows that he's making them uncomfortable. He's getting off to it.
Yeah,
Um,
he's
you
well,
know,
he's a weirdo.
he is a
Like,
disgusting, vile piece of garbage. Well, he would swim in the nude in front of female Secret Service agents. Now,
well, I mean,
who the hell does that?
I would,
Uh, yeah,
because
well,
that'd be funny.
that's a mental image I could have done without. But but I mean, yeah, he is just a creepy. He's a predator. Really, just that simple. Um, Although, have you noticed? Oh, and by the way, this is probably for another show at some point. I've been breaking down that Biden tax bill.
Oh
Uh,
God.
yeah, well, as the amount of estate planning stuff I do. Wow, it's one of those things. If that bill were to actually be passed, it would destroy the stock market, literally destroy it. And while I would hate to see that happen to a lot of people that I like, God, wouldn't Wall Street deserve it? Wouldn't you love to see them destroyed by the
Yes.
Democrats?
Yes, one of the
Um,
funniest things was that was the GameStop thing.
oh God,
And
yes.
and
God,
watching
yes.
watching a Wall Street company, a hedge fund, get their asses handed to them was
Get
so
done to them
cathartic.
exactly what they do every day to
Yes.
other companies. Now, by the way, I have no problem with hedge funds. I have no problem with shorting stocks. I think actually for the system to work, you need the ability to do that. But God, the oh my God, how dare you do it to us
Well,
thing.
the point of shorting stocks and why it works is there's risk.
Yeah.
But these guys have set up a system where they short the stock and they have enough resources to short the stock enough to basically
Manipulate the price down. Yeah.
right, to annihilate most of the risk. And that is done not shorting stocks at the hedge fund level is no longer a risk-based operation.
No.
It's someone else's expense-based operation. You're
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
you're you're basically stealing capital from people, and that's a messy thing. And I mean, I don't know how you curtail it. Like, I really
Well, you really can't. I mean, it's just, but oddly enough, the market did create a disincentive for that kind of shit.
yeah,
So,
well, and one of the big problems, of course, is them shorting more than 100% of shares. Like,
yeah, I've still tried to figure out exactly how all that worked. I guess the deal is well, we broke it down. You and I did one night, and we
yeah.
were talking about it. When you alerted me that was going on. Yeah, I thought that was hysterical though. Just but yeah, that tax bill. One of the most pernicious things in the tax bill is they're raising capital gains back to ordinary rates, and of course jacking up the ordinary rates. Basically, capital gains could be taxed as high or as 43%, right?
Yeah, which is
Uh,
insane.
well, so the thing about capital gains is, at first blush, you say to yourself, well, wait a minute, why would capital gains be taxed at a lower rate than ordinary income, right? Income's income. Why should we do that? Well, there's actually a reason for that. In an economy where inflation it's fact of life in our economy. Even when we have quote no inflation, we still have a couple percentage points of inflation. So what they're doing is they're sort of adjusting for that. Otherwise, because when you buy an asset, whatever you paid for the asset is called your basis, right? So I buy a share of stock for $10. My basis is $10. If I
Right.
sell the stock for $100, the difference between that price and my basis is my gain, right? $90.
Yep.
Pretty simple. Well, if if we have 10% inflation, just to make the math easy, a year, after 5 years, you know, that stock is, even if it that stock it has phantom appreciation. It's gone up 50% in value dollar wise, but not in real economic terms.
Right.
And so taxing you on at the full rate would be very, very unfair, because you would be being taxed on gain that you didn't get. Not only that, in a low growth with a low growth asset, you would actually see the value erode. And of course, the fascinating thing is, look at the inflationary spike that we're seeing under Biden now. Yeah, it's almost as if dumping trillions of dollars into the economy while not expanding productivity causes inflation.
There's
Yeah,
also
who could
there's
have seen that coming?
Mises, I think.
Yeah,
There's another problem with it, and that conceptual problem is that the money used to purchase the asset is already taxed.
yeah, that's true too.
So it's like,
But
so you can still say, okay, we can tax the gain, but this is post tax income that is used to generate the basis and the
well,
and
but
the gain.
I think it's defensible to tax gain, but my point is that, so what we do is, because the only way to actually fix that would be to increase your basis every year by the rate of inflation, which would be a nightmare to try to track. And it also wouldn't necessarily solve the problem, because inflation is, we talk about inflation like it's this global thing. It's not. It's every asset inflates or deflates at a different rate, right? We're just averaging it out over a basket of goods.
There is a solution
Uh,
to this, though. There actually
shoot
is one.
shoot all of the elites.
There
Oh,
is
sorry, did I say that
no,
out loud?
no. This is actually
But I
it's
don't think you should rule it out.
what bothers me is there is a solution that is not only equal but also equitable, and it's the most obvious one. You
Okay.
eliminate any income tax,
Well,
and you
yeah, you could do
simply
that.
have a sales tax.
Right.
You index the
Uh,
sales tax to you index a percentage of sales tax to the target revenue as a percentage of GDP, and then you eliminate all other taxation. And so then
Now, I
you've
don't I don't disagree, but there are some points about that, though, that I think are not always appreciated. You would very definitely encourage a huge black market, because you'd be talking about sales tax rates that are far higher than anything we're looking at now. That's not necessarily an argument against it. I'm just saying that'd be one of the things that you'd need to,
I
you
don't
know.
think it'd be as much higher as people think. I mean, our target
Yeah,
income tax.
I haven't run the math. You ought to be able to tell how many what the total value of sell transactions in America is.
You just go.
Um,
You take revenue, right? You take the annual revenue that we get now, and you index it to GDP, and you come out with an average revenue over the past 100 years. It fluctuates about 3 percentage points either way, of 19%. So you set
yeah,
sales tax at 19% and eliminate all other taxation.
yeah. I mean, like I said, the thing is, the tax code is always going to be complicated as long as it's based on income. I mean, the one thing about a sales tax is it's extremely easy to calculate and to determine.
Yep.
Um,
And it's
clients and
extremely easy to avoid. Like, you want to pay less taxes, you buy a cheaper thing or you buy a
yeah.
lesser thing.
But I mean, the everybody, a lot of my friends are like, shouldn't we have a flat tax? That's not going to reduce the complexity in the tax code, because most of the complexity in the tax code is either A, special cutouts for privileged industries, okay, that Congress decided to benefit, or B, trying to wrestle with the actual definition of what income is. Because no matter what you define income as, rich people are going to hire people like me to to find the loopholes. And so, whether you have a flat tax or not, what income actually is and the contours of that complexity is still going to be there. The national sales tax, the advantage of that is it just is what it is. There's not, the only real complexity would be if you wanted to exclude certain products like food. Like in Texas, we don't tax food.
Right.
Um, you know, We don't tax services, by the way. I don't charge sales tax when I send somebody a bill. Thank God.
Yeah, well,
Uh,
and the thing, the
mm.
pushback on the flat sales tax that I talk
It's
about,
also regressive, which
they
I don't
they
think it's
say
a
it's
bad thing.
regressive, but even if you eliminate a tax up to a certain amount, say like 5,000, I don't know what the number is. Say on up income up to $25,000 effectively, whatever that
Mhm.
sales tax
Yeah,
number works out.
you could refund the tax paid uh, up to. I mean, yeah, I mean you
Or
could mitigate
and you
the regressive
basically
nature of it.
you do it by exempting things like food, right? Like that's
Yeah.
effectively how you do it. So you get essential spending, food, maybe clothing or something like that, or certain types of clothing. But whatever it is, here's the thing though. Like someone said, penalize the creation of goods. The problem is you have to create goods to create income. You have to
Yeah.
generate the thing in the economy to get the income
Well,
anyway.
you're doing that. You're doing that with income tax anyway,
Right.
indirectly. I mean, any tax on economic activity is going to do that. I mean, you know, it's. I think one of the most regrettable things about our tax code is the number of times people try to use it as a social engineering tool, and it's not. You can't get there from here. Well, let me rephrase that. I've always said the tax code is much like a guy with a shower curtain that's too short, right? So there's a loophole right there. So you yank the shower curtain over to close that hole, and of course you just open up another hole.
Right.
It's it,
But
but
the sales tax, it does the thing that every liberal kvetches about, right? Oh well, we can't tax these high wealth individuals
mhm.
because they're not earning
Well,
income
except
or
that
whatever.
presumably they're spending more money because they're making more money. You
Right.
know,
So that would be with the sales tax, you get the person who's exempt from income tax for whatever reason because they've sheltered it or they just don't pull an income or they claim massive losses or whatever it is and you merely tax the consumption. And
yeah,
this is shockingly like we used to tax business transactions. Like that's what we used to do. Usually it was property that
mhm.
we were doing it on at the beginning, but the income tax is a product of the early 1900s. And
Yeah. Well, it was explicitly a social engineering. That's the thing, right? My lament has the problem that one of the ways the income tax was sold was it would keep wealth from accumulating. Boy, that worked real well, didn't it?
yeah,
Yeah. Mm.
it
Yeah,
it
yeah,
far further stratified everything.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
okay, enough tax talk, I guess,
Yeah,
because
as gripping as that is. At
Fox
2 o'clock in
McCloud,
the morning, two lawyers sitting there rambling on about tax policy.
we're gonna get this back to the important issues. What's better, the Halloween Oreos or the Christmas Oreos? Ooh, I go with Halloween.
Well, I'm gonna go Christmas just cause.
What the hell's your just cause isn't a reason.
Well, I don't know. I
Look,
mean, they're all Oreos.
they're all Oreos and they probably objectively taste the same if you did a blind taste test, but for some reason that orange cream tastes better to me than
Oh, okay. I see. Yeah, right. Yeah, the Pepsi challenge.
I
Uh,
guess. But
oh, that's right.
Pepsi and Coke are actually vastly different
Well, you know
creatures.
what the Pepsi challenge is, right? That was the
No.
no, right, because you're not old like I am. So in the 70s, Pepsi, one of its most very successful marketing campaign, they they sent people to grocery stores all over the country. We had them in my parents' grocery store, and they would do what was called the Pepsi challenge. They would pour Coke and Pepsi behind a screen, and you would take a sip of each and tell them which one you liked. And of course the deal was is everybody would be shocked if they were Coke drinkers, and then it turned out they liked Pepsi. But they rigged it. And I don't know why. I don't know why no well, I don't know about why nobody else ever picked up on this, but at our store we did the Pepsi challenge. And I took it just for grins. So what they did is they gave you Pepsi first.
Okay.
They gave you a cracker to cleanse your palate.
Oh, okay.
So eat a crack, take it, just eat a cracker sometime and take a swig of lukewarm Coke.
Yeah.
It profoundly changes the taste.
Yeah, it's monstrosity.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So anyway, but so yeah, the Pepsi challenge. In Pulp Fiction, where you hear Jules talk about the Pepsi challenge, that's the Pepsi challenge.
Okay. I
I
actually
sure am
don't.
glad that I could bring enlightenment
I'm wearing a
to
Pulp
this
Fiction
point.
shirt, and I don't remember Jules talking about the
You
Pepsi
are.
challenge.
Oh yeah. What was he? Yeah, it was. They were comparing something, and yeah. Crap. I can't remember the scene.
I'll
Oh,
rewatch
by
Pulp
the way, I
Fiction.
finally saw my son-in-law has been on me for a long time. Finally got around to seeing Inglorious Bastards.
I
God,
haven't
what
s-
a great!
I haven't seen it yet.
I, I'll ask the stream. Is it possible that movie is actually better than Pulp Fiction?
I've
I
heard
mean,
it's really good.
it's 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 that same kind of just. I can't believe I'm actually laughing at this. Oh no, it wasn't Jules. It was the drug dealer. What's his name?
Marcellus?
No. Vincent is getting his heroin from the guy.
Oh, okay.
Oh, what's his name? Eric Stoltz. That's the actor's name. But yeah, he's talking about how he'll take the he'll take stuff. Will take the Pepsi challenge with that other shit any day of the week.
That's right. Okay, now that you mentioned that, I remember it. I was like, I don't remember Jules talking about the Pepsi challenge.
Yeah, no, I had that screwed up. No, it was the drug dealer. But yeah, Inglorious Bastards might actually be better than Pulp Fiction, and I love Pulp Fiction. Don't I mean it's one of my favorite movies. So I you know
Yeah,
well apparently
it's one I've always wanted to watch, but it's kind of long,
yeah.
and it's like what? It's like, is it almost 4 hours?
I don't remember being quite that long, but it was long. It maybe it was that long. Well,
Uh, yeah, it was a long
uh,
movie. I don't know if it was
it was long. We watched it yesterday. Let's see. Um, where do I go to find out how long the
two and a
movie
half,
is?
two and a half
Two
hours.
and a
You're
half.
saying
Okay, yeah.
that's
Um,
a long ass movie.
so I found out something about this. I did not know this was a genre, but yet I was aware of movies in this genre. There's a genre called macaroni combat movies. Uh,
Okay,
Take off on spaghetti western.
right.
Okay, in the late '60s and throughout the '70s, Italian and Spanish filmmakers made these just over the top war movies,
Yeah,
World War II typically, and they very often had some over the hill American actor leading. Rock Hudson was in one. In fact, the one that I remember was a movie called Hornet's Nest. Rock Hudson played an American paratrooper parachuting into Italy and yada yada yada. And I don't think he made a movie again after he made that movie. I think he started being on television at that point. But but anyway, so Inglorious Bastards is sort of an homage to that whole uh, thing. And anyway, it's yeah,
someone
just crazy good. So
someone asked me why I hate long movies, because now, Ty, I mean this with every single fiber of my
no, I
being.
got you, brother.
You have
I get
90 minutes plus minus 10%. I'll
get it
give you
done.
I'll give you 80 to 100 minutes. And if it's longer than 100 minutes, I make it a series and I'm
It's,
fine. Let me break it up.
this may have happened to you like it did to me when you were in law school. When I was in law school, you remember how much crap we had to read, and so
Yeah.
reading anything except law stuff was a real indulgence. I
Yep.
mean, you know, and that's where I stopped reading books. Doorstop size books because I'll never forget Tom Clancy, one of my favorite authors up to that point, released another one of those 1,000-page doorstops like a week before law school was going to start back up. And I remember buying that damn thing and looking at it and I went, I am not reading this. And I agree with you about movies. There are always exceptions to every rule, right? I mean,
It's it's
but
the
not many.
problem the problem for me is I never have time. All of my free time that I have, like when my kids go to bed, is generally here. And so
Yeah.
this is when I work for the most part, is doing the streams at night. And so I don't have during the day, I don't have a block of I need more than 2 hours, because if I sit down when my kids are awake to watch a movie, it's not happening. They're going to interrupt 50 times. It's going to take
Yeah.
an extra 30 minutes to an hour. And so I legitimately do not have it. What I do have time for though is series, because you give me an
Right. Well,
episode,
you break them down into pieces.
right? And it's not so simple as just breaking up a movie into parts though, because a series has quintessentially different elements. Each individual show, each part of a series has its own arc that completes within the episode, even if the the grand arc is something bigger. And that is a critical factor in breaking up a work. You can't just say, well, this movie, like Zack Snyder's Justice League, for example, and I don't know if he did this or not. I'm not making any comment on it. I know there's still a bunch of Zack Snyder simps in the chat. I can't figure out why. But okay, 4 hours long. Well, you break it into 4 1-hour segments, but
It's a different dramatic structure, though, like you say.
It's supposed to be. Now, maybe he did it that way. I don't know. I'm not saying he did or didn't, but it's not as simple as just breaking it up.
It'd be very disruptive to try to watch a movie that's really 4 episodes, right? I mean, you could do it, and Tarantino kind of almost does do that.
He does it in Hateful Eight. Hateful Eight, the extended cut of Hateful Eight is actually 4 1-hour episodes.
Oh,
but I haven't watched that.
Another series I've been going back through is the classic Kung Fu with David Carradine.
Yeah,
you can now get that on Amazon Prime. You have to pay for it, but yeah, it moves at a different rate than today's children are accustomed to, though, because I watched it with my daughters and they were like, "Gosh, Dad,
no, it's a whole different style of TV."
Yeah, I had forgotten how good David Carradine was in that role. He really was. I mean, I remember I ran a couple of Boot Hill campaigns in the early '80s. That was a Western role playing game that TSR put out.
Yeah,
and we didn't have this term then, but my campaign would have been called today a Weird West campaign, because it had, there was an adventure involving a dinosaur, and there was one with Dracula, based off of the classic Western Billy the Kid meets Dracula. but yeah, I actually I created I added some rules so that one of the guys could run basically Kwai Chang Caine, just walking the earth, doing kung fu.
Yeah, it was some weird. The whole premise of that show was so weird.
Well, it was just a different time.
Yeah.
Well, martial arts were everywhere in the early '70s. I mean, Bruce Lee was this huge thing. I mean, people were aware of karate and martial arts and that kind of thing 10 years earlier. I mean, Star Trek has all kinds of karate-like moves and stuff, But by the '70s, man, it was everywhere. It was just part of the culture.
You know what I like about the Next Generation and that set of Star Trek? Like, this is completely abstract from the show.
I like absolutely nothing about it.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I love how they handle the combat and stuff like that. No one is ever stressed out, right? Like, everything is like, walk very stoically, point your phaser and shoot. Like, we
Except
watched
that Worf gets the shit beat out of him every single time.
We watched he's kicking ass in First Contact.
Yeah, that's true. But in the early couple of seasons, just watch, because
I'm literally never going to watch the early couple of seasons of Next Generation.
No, it's just,
I meant that, like, I liked the movies of that era, because I really liked when they were able to start making the ship combat look good. Like First Contact, the fight where they have with the Borg
ship. First Contact ages very well. The effects are really good.
Yeah, and we just watched it because my wife is watching through the series in chronological order, all of Star Trek in chronological order in the universe. So she actually started with, like, Discovery and stuff like that, and then moved into the original series, or not. Yeah, but anyway. So
I think it's appropriate that the abbreviation for Discovery is STD.
Yeah, it's really terrible. But
no, I do not like Star Trek Discovery.
Good. You shouldn't.
Ooh.
But what I get to do, my luxury is I don't watch I'm too busy to sit down and watch hours of Star Trek. But what I do is when they get to a movie, I watch the movies with them, because I like pretty much all of the Star Trek movies. Of the I actually do like the J.J. Abrams ones, but I don't think of them as Star Trek movies.
They're I agree.
They're just fun space action movies that are fun.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
So we just watched First Contact the other day, and I'm like, that's I think my favorite of all Star Trek movies is First Contact. I
It's
really
pretty
enjoyed
good,
it.
although you'll do yourself a wonderful favor if you'll watch the Red Letter Media reviews of the various Star Trek movies. They are beyond awesome. Uh,
Yeah.
it you know
I
yeah. Okay, so let me get this straight. Let's see. Captain Picard, Ensign Worf, Data, and security guard Rabinowitz are going to go out on the ship to fight the Borg. It's like, I wonder who's not coming back.
Yep.
Uh,
Well, they did that in Family Guy, right? They had an old Star Trek segment, and it's like
oh
the
yeah.
landing party will consist of myself, Mr. Spock, Dr. Jones, and Ensign Ricky. And it cuts to Ensign Ricky. Goes, "Oh crap!"
Well, you remember? Did you ever see Galaxy Quest?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you remember that was Sam Rockwell's character. He was number 6. I don't even have a name. They're flying down to the planet. He's like, "Oh God, I just realized I wanted to come with you because I didn't want to stay on the ship and be killed, but now I think I'm going to be the one that's going to go on the planet with you and get killed. I don't even have a first name. I'm just crewman number 6." And Sigourney Weaver goes, "Guy, you do have a. I don't have a last name. You do have a last name." He goes, "Do I? Do I really?" Yeah. Galaxy Quest is actually the best Star Trek movie ever made, in my opinion. But
All right, we got Robert Levito says, "Hey Nick, tried that French whiskey Bren. I think had a wild berry flavor, quite smooth, very strange. Also, hello, Mr. Beard."
hi.
Mr. Obi-Wan 2020 says, "Hey Nick and Ty, glad to see both of you are doing well. My oven decided to die, so I broke out the smoker to cook the meatloafs I was planning on making. 1 turkey, 1 bison. Thanks for the entertainment while I tend the fire." Hey, buddy. Awesome.
Quintessential male thing, doing things with fire.
Dude, I had a good fire going today. Bad Vibe says, "I think a blended sales tax and lottery system. In states with lottery, I propose each separate game supports various social funded programs. Let the pet projects be funded by choice. Just my 2 cents."
I have to agree with Johnny Apocalypse. Is it Johnny Apocalypse? Sorry, Op Dog, Barbara Boucher, and by any name. Yes, indeed.
Okay.
Uh, perhaps the hottest woman in the original series, and that's
Mr. Bentham says, "The opening scene in Inglourious Bastards just hooks you in so good." And Matthew Harder
the bear Jew. Sorry, I think that's the one with the baseball bat.
Matthew Harder says, "Marines are best at firearms. Treat every weapon as if it were loaded. Never point your weapon at anything you did not intend to shoot. Keep your fingers straight until you're ready to fire. Keep safety until ready to fire."
And anyone that's grown up in a household with guns, hunters, and so forth, those are the rules that you learn.
Yep.
I mean, it's yeah.
All right. I've got one thing to show you here. Did you see that the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals officially
Star Trek, Star Wars officially said they suck. Yes.
Okay, so you did see that.
We have fallen into some kind of crazy parallel universe where the Ninth Circuit is the voice of reason. I got nothing. I did. Yes, I read it, and he actually had the footnote.
Yeah, the footnote. Yeah, he says it would be crazy if George Lucas, for example, or it would be an illusory promise, for example, if George Lucas promised to never release anything schlocky or terrible or whatever, and then for as illustrated by The Last Jedi and whatever the other one was.
Of all the circuits that I would have absolutely said it. If you'd said a circuit is going to have an opinion on that, I'd say it's got to be the Fifth Circuit. That's us. Yeah.
Okay, a bunch of people are saying, "Wait, what?" I've got to pull it up. I'm trying to find the direct message. I got it in just a second.
Also, remember to peel your crayons before eating them. Yeah, tips to live by, really.
Okay, so this is from a Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals decision. It is what is it? It's Briseño versus Henderson. And here's the line. It says, that is like George Lucas promising no more mediocre and schlocky Star Wars sequels shortly after selling the franchise to Disney. Such a promise would be illusory. And then it has a footnote. And the footnote says, as evident by Disney's production of The Last Jedi and Rise of the Skywalker.
Glorious.
It flatly
Absolutely
calls them
glorious.
out as terrible in a legal document, legally recognized. As what was it? Schlocky and mediocre. So
Yeah, that's glorious. Yeah, I don't know if I told you, I'm a big fan of Doomcock. I like to watch his stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and then the bestest ever.
Okay. Oh, speaking of Doomcock, but not at all. He was one of the first guests on Viva and Barnes' Sidebar show Wednesday, 6 p.m. Central Time. I am the guest tomorrow on Viva and Barnes.
Viva and Barnes?
Yeah, it's on Viva Fry. I'll send you the link.
Yeah.
But it's Viva Fry and Robert Barnes. Viva's a Canadian lawyer. Robert Barnes is a pretty prominent U.S. lawyer. He was representing the other Covington kids, not Nick Sandman, but the other ones. But yeah, he's so they have a show, and they do interviews every Wednesday. It's called Sidebar, and I am on tomorrow over there.
Awesome.
So yeah, so you guys
try to watch that. I'm gonna be driving to Dallas, but maybe I can catch it.
Oh yeah, it'll be good stuff.
Yeah.
At 6 p.m. You're driving to Dallas at 6 p.m.
Yeah.
Do you hate yourself?
No, I'm meeting some folks tomorrow night or early for the con. They're coming in early, so
okay.
But yeah, well, I've been told actually the traffic isn't all that bad. You know, see, Dallas County locked itself down pretty hard.
Yeah, COVID really did wipe out a lot of traffic in a lot of places.
Yeah. Then the governor, our governor at least, when he released, when he got rid of the restrictions, he also, made it so that the cities can't override that. They're not allowed to impose their own because Dallas County is run by a bunch of lunatics.
Yep.
The county judge there, and I'm sorry, I don't care what I am not commenting on his abilities as a judge. I truly don't know. But we have this crazy ass system in Texas where the county judge is also the county manager. And the county judge that manages Dallas County is a grandstanding idiot. Sorry, he just is. Yeah. Well, and again, I'm talking about his management stuff. I'm not talking about his courtroom. I have no idea. I've never been in his courtroom.
Sure.
But when John Wiley Price is the voice of sweet reason in your county, you've got some problems.
Right.
I'll say it that way. But anyway.
All right, I'm gonna start reading through the rest of these chats here.
Yeah, because it's
right. It's getting late. Parad 0807 says, Nick, stop grifting me. Also, your third thumbnail today looks like you are getting some good head. It is Pride Month after all.
Jeez.
Kidda says, testing Streamlabs, setting up my shiny new 4K resin 3D printer while I listen in. You should cover the Games Workshop versus Chapter House IP lawsuits someday and the legality of third-party bits for established IP like Games Workshop. Games Workshop certainly doesn't like them.
Yeah, that'd be a fun one to talk about.
That'd be interesting.
I think they were litigating that, but
I'm supposed to be getting a Games Workshop gift pack.
Oh wow!
I don't know what's even in it. I just got an email from somebody who's like, "Yeah, I'm a PR manager for this company, and I think they represent Games Workshop, and there's something coming, so they're sending me a gift pack."
Probably pretty darn swanky.
I hope so. Maybe I'm supposed to get it like tomorrow or the next day, so we'll see. Angry Baneling says, happy heterosexual month, Nick. Let us celebrate this month of heterosexual pride as the dominating 96% of the planet. Without us, there would be no pronouns in bios, as most, if not all of them, are genetic dead ends. Feels great waking up hetero every day. Seems hateful, but I agree.
Good to have pride in one's something.
Xander's Rant says, Ty, when will you get Nick and Lee's husband Nick 2.0 together to play Among Us or D&D, so we
I'm
can see.
I am still reeling from that observation. I'm just going to say that and be done with it.
So we can see how similar they are.
I never really tied that together.
Apparently, the other day when Nick 2.0 took over Lee's stream, he was grifting almost as hard as Nick 1.0 does.
That's yeah. I totally agree with the comparison. I had never. I'm still coming to terms with it.
I have never been the imposter. That's all I'm saying.
So, I was going to ask you. So, just curious. Did the stream for the wedding and everything, was that it all? It looked good and everything.
Yeah, it was fine.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, a lot of times it was just pointing at a bush or whatever.
Well, yeah, there wasn't a lot to do, so
But we could hear stuff, and the chat was having fun.
Well, good.
I think
This is the 21st century, after all.
Yeah. Kool-Aid Man says, "Oh yeah, Nick tell Ty I'll be in his neck of the woods. I hit it big, so I filled my pitcher up with high quality blow and got me a hooker named Cinnamon Delight. I need some legal advice because after a 9-day binge, there was a dead hooker in my pitcher." Crusader says, "Say Ty, how's it like being a father-in-law? Also, Nick, also, Nick, have you ever considered making your kids learn different jazz instruments and forming an in-house jazz band called Ricada and the Racketeers?"
That's pretty good.
No.
It's well, like I said, I said this at the wedding when I got a little choked up. I kind of set out to not lose a daughter but gain a son, right?
Right.
If you have daughters, I think that's the way you have to approach these things. So it's fine. I mean, Ryan and I get along very well. We always have. So that helps. And our families get along very well. We like each other very well too, and that's that's a pretty wonderful thing too. So yeah, it's great. It's great. Never had sons before, so.
Crusader says, "Say Ty, what is a transgender working group? Why is there one at the Air Force Academy? And why are we so damn screwed if we actually get into another shooting war in 10 years?
Yeah. Well, remember though, I don't give a shit how much they try to politically correct the military. That lifestyle is not going to appeal to the vast majority of people on the left. Okay. They'll have a disproportionate influence, and yes, people will die when the military forgets its primary task. It costs blood to correct itself, but long term, I don't think this means the end of the United States or anything. It's just unfortunate that that the protectors of our country are being so politicized by these lunatics. Did you see the comparison between that incredibly cringy Army commercial about
with the
you
Russian
see the comparison with the Russian one? Yeah. The Army. I never understood why they got away from the be all you can be campaigns. That's the best recruitment campaign the U.S. military has ever come up with, and they went to that Army of one bullshit, and then this. So anyway,
and now Army of two moms.
Yeah.
Bad Dragonite says, "My first chat with the new Streamlabs will be to ask Ty what species his fursona is and ask Nick to critique said choice."
And maybe someday I'll know what he's talking about.
Playing coy, I see. Rise1 says, "Nick, thank God you're on. My country has lost its mind. Canada voted 327-1 to suspend all federal elections until COVID ends. Your country didn't go that far. Talk to Ty and please discuss your thoughts about this damned heresy. Also, sorry, been away."
But doesn't Canada have a parliamentary system where they don't? Isn't their system kind of like Great Britain's? Like the elections are not regularly scheduled; they're called anyway. Isn't that right?
This one is their notice of intent to suspend. I think what it actually was a notice of intent to suspend any elections that should occur due to some sort of
Now,
default
here's a
provision.
question for a Canadian. Is your prime minister more effete, limp-wristed, and womanly than Gavin Newsom in California?
Yes, maybe.
Yeah, I know. Tough. Yeah, you initially say yes because he is pretty pathetic, but then you start thinking about Governor Hairdo, and you go, huh? Yeah.
Crusader says, I'll give credit to Pickett's division. Despite all they went through on the charge, they still managed to push the Union lines back about 50 feet. Much respect.
Oh, sure. It was a. That is, like every war, but there's heroism across the board in the Civil War. This, of course, the Southern, the South gets a little more credit, but take a look at Fredericksburg, where you had Union troops, I believe, charging the Confederate lines 20 times and failing every time. The amount of guts that had to take to keep trying to do that. So yeah, it's um, and yeah, that is the crazy thing. Pickett's charge actually almost worked. I mean, it could have worked anyway.
Rise One says, Nick, are you planning on simping to Games Workshop or using alternative means for watching the new 40K series on their new Warhammer channel? No, I'll subscribe. Also, do you watch text to speech? I've watched a little bit of it. It's very funny, but I don't watch.
Oh, that's the one where the Emperor wakes up after.
Yeah, and he's
Yeah,
got a text to speech device.
that is yeah, that's pretty funny.
Would you react to Slaneshma's special for us one day, maybe with heels versus babyface? Maybe. That would be probably funny. Nick and Ty, have you ever spent too much time using Tumblr for porn? No.
No.
Many things seen there are becoming reality. You know what cuckolding is, yes? Recently found out that mounding and nullification is real surgery performed on men. Emperor of Man meet feminism.
Men in only the most technical sense of the word, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah. Anthony James says, so there I was among the founding fathers at the Constitutional Convention with the power to influence just one of them to add or change only one thing to the Constitution merely to be whispering in their ear. Would I get them to add, nah, but really at the end of the Second Amendment? Would I have them add an amendment saying that all lawyers and journalists are subhuman and don't deserve rights? Would I have them make sure some women can never get the vote? Or make sure women can never get the vote?
It's interesting for the founders to do that since most of them were lawyers.
Yeah.
Or not most. I think most, but certainly a significant number of them anyway.
I go with the Second Amendment one still.
Yeah.
Baronet says, good morning, Nick. Virgin father question. When will my 10-month daughter stop waking up moaning and screaming like someone was showing her Ron Toye and Monica Rial? This is a legit question. Have a great day, guys. All the best.
Oh boy.
Look, man.
It'll get easier.
Yeah.
That's all we can do, bro.
Oh, I'll tell you. Probably after about a year, when they start eating regular food, like baby food, it keeps them full a lot longer. And when they start eating like the baby rice and oat cereals and stuff like that, that's when it starts to get a lot easier, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and you'll ultimately block it all out anyway. So.
Back to Anthony James saying, after thinking for what felt like an eternity, keenly aware of the impact my choice could have on the destiny of this great nation, finally made my decision. So I leaned in close to George's beautiful hairy ear and whispered, hashtag Fuda Balls Gang. There you go. That's what he picked. Buttfucker 3000 says, did you see that? Do you know the reference that name is?
No.
I knew you wouldn't have. So, all these courts have been live streaming during COVID. And this one, Jeffrey Middleton, a guy shows up to an arraignment hearing on his Zoom thing, and he logs in, and his name is Buttfucker 3000.
God.
And the judge,
the court takes judicial notice of that?
The judge says, what is your name, sir? He says, whatever it is. And he says, so your name isn't Buttfucker 3000? And he's like, no. And he's like, then why would you name yourself Buttfucker 3000? Like he's so pissed. And this is like the most This is the most like even-keeled judge too. He's great. Judge Jeffrey Middleton in Michigan. He's kind of become a little internet celebrity because of some of this stuff, but he's like pretty even-keeled. But he was livid, right? Turns out the guy's sister set up his Zoom account for the court hearing and pranked him by making that his screen name.
You probably shouldn't prank people with the court system.
No, you absolutely should. That's what siblings are for, and you know it.
Yeah, I guess. Okay, fine.
Oh, God, it was
Good
awesome.
night.
So
now, if the court was in on it, that'd be fine. But yeah.
Oh,
wow.
no. I'm sure he had to explain it to him later. But he put him in a separate room. He was so mad. He's like, I'm going to send you out into the waiting room to think about this. But the guy clearly, he's like, you should have seen his face. Like,
oh, God.
It's
he's at an arraignment, so he's been charged.
It's like someone just murdered a bunch of children and handed him a knife and said, I'm leaving. You clean this up, right? And he's
Why did you do it?
Yeah. So anyway, his question is in Trump voice. Who's more unethical, Kamala Harris learning her politics on her knees or Kim Gardner? Also, Nikki, you suck at shilling locals and Robert Barnes is a better shiller. Yeah, he is. He's way better at it than me. But yeah, ricadalaw.locals.com. I'm working on getting better at it. Well, who's more unethical, Kamala Harris or Kim Gardner? No, Kim Gardner is more unethical than Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris.
Well, she's positioned better. I mean, she can do more damage.
Kamala Harris, she did the prosecutor thing. Ethically, it's just that it was terrible. but still ethical. Rise One says, Nick, I found a copy of that book recently, mailing it out to you tomorrow. When it arrives, will you please show it off on stream? Was pulled from distribution. I know you'll love it. Your audience will too. You'll understand when it arrives. Make Ty jealous. Okay. Unanswered question says, gents, I'm in my mid-30s and am thinking of going to school for something. I was curious if it's even worth it at this point, and I'm not sure what would be a good field. Just curious kind of sick of dead-end jobs. Any advice is appreciated. Thank you.
Learn a trade.
Yeah. I mean, really, yes.
You're not, you're outside of professions and stuff like that. I mean, why would you go to school? Learn a trade, hopefully something you're good at. But you need to do some thinking and exploring and see what, there is. The good news is you probably can get a job as a helper or something for anybody in any field. But yeah,
what you don't need to question is it too late in your mid-30s to change careers? No.
Absolutely not. It's absolutely not too late.
It's a normal thing.
Well, hell, I got out of law school. I was 29. So
I was like 33 or whatever.
Yeah. So no, not at all. Just understand that college is overrated, badly overrated.
Yeah, it's do what we said. Find what you like to do and pursue that. Like find what you like to do and pursue it, because that is
if you can't do that, find something that you don't utterly hate and that you make you make good money at.
And if you can't do that, just be a plumber. Everybody needs plumbers.
Everybody needs plumbers, yeah.
Xander's Rant says, Ty, have you played... Oh, wait, no, shit. Uy99 says, Society is an insane movie. Please at least show Ty this 1 to 2 second GIF from the movie. It's not too explicit to show on YouTube. It's really actually annoying to pull up stuff to show Ty on this, so I'm not going to, but I'll send it to him. Xander's Rant says, Ty, have you played Saber Beats?
No, I've got a friend that's been wearing me out about it, though. He says it's really awesome. He says, I didn't play the boxing. I have. That was fun.
He says, also, you should play Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes with Nick in VR. I don't have a VR headset. I'm thinking about getting one, but
They are pretty darn slick, I gotta admit.
He says also the Babylon Bee has done 2 Twilight Zone-ish cartoons called The Woke Zone. Think you guys would like it.
Oh, well, yeah. Anything America's newspaper of record is the Babylon Bee. So.
Silky Johnson says, "Hey gents, could a group of people bring a lawsuit to Congress to try and get them to do something about online censorship, or would it fall flat?" You can't sue Congress for online censorship.
No.
Please say it's Kermit. You see what happens, Larry? You see what happens when you fuck a stranger in the ass? Okay. Okay, Big Lebowski reference. Got it. Baronet says, on the topic
that one.
On the topic of taxes, here in Europe, we have a super tax or sugar tax. Any drink with sugar like Coke or Pepsi is taxed in addition to sales tax. This is for our benefit, of course. The number of growing obese people attest to that.
Of course, yeah. I want witless government apparatchiks deciding what's best for me and lining their pockets with my money.
Yep.
I think that's a wonderful system.
Sergeant McSalty says, "Hey, Ty, what do you think of the U.S. Army ad versus the Russian one?" We just talked about that. And he says, "Almost makes me want to," and then he sent a bunch of Russian letters. I don't even know what they mean.
You know what I like about the Russian commercial, though, seriously? And again, it goes back to a lot of the, the be all you can be things, is it's exactly the kind of commercial that would appeal to a young man, right?
Right.
You're doing lots and lots of cool shit like jumping out of planes and blowing stuff up.
And you're getting shredded muscles.
Well, yeah, there's that too. But I mean, that's the thing that the military figured out in the 70s was that, young men do like to drive large vehicles and blow things up and do all those things. So,
yep. That's what I was talking about. Madonna's kid was just shown modeling a dress. Her 15-year-old son was just modeling a dress. And I said, men wear pants or shorts. If you don't have pants or shorts, put your legs in a tank and you wear a tank. You stand out the top, right? Like that's, if you can't find pants, get in a tank.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Some guy with cancer says 55-inch. That's almost big enough to fit Nick's nose. The gray one says, "Evening all. A happy late Memorial Day to you both. Mr. Beard, it has been a long time. How have you been?"
Great.
I hope life has been treating you and your family well.
It has. I can't complain.
And he says, welcome back. Emily Wooten says, "I'm late. Have you discussed the Houston hospital employees suing over vaccine mandates?" And then has Nuremberg.
I don't think they're going to succeed in that. So I found out something about HIPAA that I didn't realize. HIPAA is not applicable to employers.
Yeah.
So,
no.
And Texas is an at-will employment state. So absent, and of course the legislature is not in session anymore. So maybe a privacy right thing.
I'm not familiar with the lawsuit, but if the lawsuit is suing your employer over a vaccine mandate,
they're requiring you to well, of course, the Biden, agency, shit, I'm getting punchy myself. Anyway, they opined that employers could do that. I don't know of any legal theories that would work, unfortunately.
Not in an at-will state. I mean, you're going to say, well, here's what you have to do to keep your job, and you say, well, I don't want to do it, and they say, okay, you don't want to keep your job.
Yeah, I think that I think that's what we're saying. I think employers can mandate that you be vaccinated.
I also did a video on,
of course,
can employers mandate vaccinations.
It would take all of, 15 minutes with Photoshop or Illustrator to create your vaccine card,
which is an illegal thing, and I do
not. Which we do not endorse.
We do not endorse.
Actually, is it illegal?
I believe so.
Is there actually a law out there that says you can't? Because I mean, it's not the document itself has no particular legal status. It's just it purports to report a fact.
Correction is a point of clarification, I should say. Actually, yeah, if it would not be criminal under maybe a fraud, maybe a criminal fraud.
Some kind of fraud, yeah, maybe.
Because you are doing something for gain or to cause the loss to someone else. So I think that fulfills the fraud elements for criminal act. But if they created a national vaccine passport, for example,
Oh, sure,
uh,
that would be different. Yeah,
that
that
would
would be
be
like
a thing
forging a.
too.
Yeah, and there may be state laws about just generally forging anything that
Yeah,
that
but
matters. So yeah.
but generally speaking, you're not going to have an employment claim for in an at-will state refusing to comply with an employment requirement. I mean, as stupid as it may be, there's just not a claim for it. So, and now maybe the hospital employees have a union contract that has
Mhm.
not been renegotiated. That's a different
Prob-
story.
Probably not. Texas not being, Texas being a right to work state and everything. Um, somebody asked the question, well, what about, are the employers going to be on the hook if because of anything harm caused by the vaccination? I don't think so.
Oh, I
You
highly
know,
doubt it.
what you need to do is you need to go, they need to be complaining to the Texas Attorney General's office, which I'm sure they are,
Yep.
and complaining vociferously to their legislators.
Yeah.
Um,
If anybody is looking to sue over this crap, it's Ken Paxton. He
yeah.
is he's making a play to be the successor to Greg Abbott. That much is pretty clear, and he is being very public about fighting these very unpopular with Republicans things. So,
Oh, I'll say this: Paxton, I think he sued the Obama administration like 30 or 40 times.
yeah,
I
and
mean,
that's
he's had
why
a long,
Cruz is in Congress. He did the same thing. He had
yeah,
Paxton's job. Well, no, he was
yeah.
Solicitor General, not
He was
Attorney
Solicitor
General.
General, yeah.
John Doback says medical privacy. Look, like medical privacy
Well,
laws people think they apply to everybody, but they really don't. There's a specific.
right.
Yeah, go
Yeah, go
ahead.
ahead. I'm sorry. I was going to say that's what I was saying about HIPAA. I looked it up, and I didn't realize HIPAA is simply not applicable to employers. Now, individual states may have expanded protections beyond HIPAA, but I, you know,
Yeah, a lot of employers are not actually dealing with the protected health information that HIPAA covers, also,
right.
and they're not sharing it. That's the other thing. Like like you're giving the employer your protected health information.
Yeah, they're compelling you to do it.
Yeah, they're saying you turn
It's
this
just
over or we fire you. And
see,
they do that with
I
drug
can remember having
tests.
to be, yeah, right, and that's well, I can remember having to be inoculated before we'd start school in Texas, and I think that's still a thing, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah, they definitely mandate various children's vaccines in a lot of states.
Although if you are going to get vaccinated, go to West Virginia and get in their lottery for guns.
Um like look, is it a good thing? No. Is it a
No,
legal thing? Probably.
yeah,
Like just I'm not sure of the legal remedy for it because you have the option to not contract with them.
yeah, that's something that Nick and I, all of us lawyers, one of the conversations you hate to have with clients is when you have to say it ain't right, but it's also not illegal, you know, or, another version of that is whenever I have to say to a client, and usually I have to say it because I'm frustrated because I won't shut up about it, but the law lets them be assholes.
Would it violate religious rights? Not many. Believe it or not, most religions do not have a problem with vaccine as far as
Yeah.
is recognized by a court of law. The number that do are very, very small.
Yeah, and the court's not going to let you. The court's not going to buy into you. You just came up with a religion type
Uh,
stuff. That
is there any ADA arguments that might work? No. Let me shut that down right now.
no, uh,
No.
no, maybe no, not really. I was thinking maybe if you had some kind of like condition that wouldn't let you get vaccinated, they might be required. If you had a disability that somehow precludes you getting vaccinated, they would have to make a reasonable accommodation, I think. But I don't know what that condition would be.
Maybe remote employment or something.
Yeah.
Unless it but the accommodation still has to be reasonable, and if it's unreasonable to remote employ you, then they don't have to make the accommodation.
I think our answer is that this is something that needs to be proactive. This we need a law on this.
Yeah,
This is
you're
one of
not
those things. You know,
you're not going to easily win this in a lawsuit. You're most likely going to lose any lawsuit that is brought on the premise of suing an employer for requiring a vaccination, in the same way that people have over and over and over again lost lawsuits against employers who require a drug test.
mm-hmm.
And yes, by the way, the compulsory divulgence of a drug test is the compulsory divulgence of medical history, just like everything else. They just don't have to hire you.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, that's but I would certainly, if it were me, I would certainly try to get in touch with the Attorney General's office and see if there's anything they can do.
yeah.
But I suspect even they're going to be the problem is it's real dubious to try to expand the law based on just generalized principles. I mean, that's what the common law sort of is, but this is one of those things where we kind of need a statute. And,
Yeah.
and I don't think employers ought to be able to compel that.
I don't think so either. It's just under
But,
existing law, you're fighting a massive uphill battle that you're probably not going to win. That's the analysis. Yeah. Talk to Robert Barnes. I'm going to talk to him tomorrow, but I mean, the reality is you're going to have a tough uphill battle. Matt K says,
I would think PR, certainly do your level best to embarrass the crap out of these hospitals.
Yes.
I mean, that kind of thing, take your case to the media, take your case to social media as best you can, stuff like that.
Let's see. Matt K says, Ty Beard, stop being a pussy. I take 2 needles in my eye and a rice-sized pellet implanted every 90 days.
Well,
yeah, Ty.
But by that standard, I suppose I am one. Yes.
Let's see. Alman John 1 says, Nick, tell Ty about how Amaranth wipes the Simps names off the Rick and Morty pickle. Okay, so
no, please don't.
No,
please don't.
Real quick. So Twitch had a thing the other day where its advertisers realized that a bunch of really popular female streamers were just sitting in really small bikinis in hot tubs. Right?
No.
And Twitch's audience is like massively below 18. It's not like YouTube. Twitch has a very young audience because it's a gaming platform.
Okay, so young males like to see girls in bikinis.
Right. It's shocking that it's successful. But
who could have seen that coming?
So Twitch took away the advertising revenue of these girls.
What happened to Twitch's audience?
Oh no, it did not disappear.
Okay.
But and they've rectified it now by putting them in a separate category. So now there's a new category on Twitch for hot tubs, pools, and beaches. Okay? So but anyway, so this one chick, Amaranth, who's like the most popular streamer one of the most popular female streamers on Twitch, she does this stream all the time. She sits in a cheap hot tub and she rides on an inflatable pickle Rick from the show Rick and Morty. It's like a giant, like 5-foot pickle. And whenever someone subscribes on Twitch, which is where they pay like $5, right? She writes their name on the pickle in a Sharpie. And she makes, just from this, Ty, not from advertising, not from anything, just from these subscriptions, she makes over $50,000 a month.
Dang. Well, she's not hard on the eyes, that's for sure.
So here's the best part. Now, Ty, if you're a guy in the stream, you pay your money. You're like, yes, I'm going to pay my money to get my name on this pickle, right? That's my attachment. Now, when she fills up the pickle, you would think she would be like, oh, okay, I'm going to go store it on my wall of simps or whatever, right? No, she takes an alcohol wipe and cleans off the names in front of them. She erases their legacy in front of their eyes.
I can't imagine any self-respecting male being any part of that process.
She just sits and does it, and it's the most disrespectful thing, and I think it's hilarious.
What the hell is wrong with these guys?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Now the plus
I'm
side
sure
is
Drexel has a much more colorful and detailed analysis of this than I do, but
I will say the plus side for the audience is while she's doing this, I mean, she does do this in the bikini and she wiggles around a little bit because of the rubbing. But I mean, you're watching her in a bikini all day anyway, so it's not like that's new.
well, and like I said, she's not hard on the eyes, but I've certainly seen better looking women than that. Oh God,
She
for
she
God's sakes,
disrespects their names. God,
do
that's
what
the
Frankie
funniest thing.
Valli's dad told him to do. Walk like a man. That song has all that you ever need to know about how to deal with women, right?
Yep.
Just
It's a sad state of affairs for these men. Hungry, good
no
windfall.
woman's worth crawling on this earth. So walk like a man, my son.
There you go. Exactly.
It took a group of basically thugs from New Jersey
She
to
is
write a song
not.
like that.
She is not married. Someone said she's married too. If she's married, her husband is a giant pile of garbage.
Oh God, yeah.
Hungry Ewok says, Ty, any thoughts on Forbidden Lands?
I happened to glance over there. I got it. It looks really good. I bought it a while back. I looked over. It used to be over there, but it's not anymore. It's now in my other room. So,
Goodest Goy says, United States versus Throckmorton, Supreme Court 1878, quote, fraud vitiates everything. I mean, sure. Except there's a lot of things.
Apply that to the government.
There's a lot of things that fraud hasn't vitiated in a very long time. But,
yeah.
But okay. Not applicable says Kamala, terrorist violated more than that. Cody Duffin says Ninth Circuit Judge Kenneth K. Lee calls The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker mediocre and schlocky. I am that I am says, how would one incentivize 41 to become 100? Okay. Xander's Rant says,
look something up. I wonder if that judge is one of the Trump appointees.
That'd be pretty funny.
Well, the age is about right. Let's see. He's Korean. Heritage.
His last name is Lee.
Yes, he is a Trump appointee, of course.
Yeah, he's
and
one
Kamala
of the
Harris and Feinstein opposed his nomination, and Trump didn't give a shit. So yes, he's one of ours.
Yeah, he's the one who's been ruling well on some gun cases and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Myron Record says the trick to flying is to throw yourself at the ground and miss. Douglas Adams.
Yeah.
Xander's Rant says, Ty, tell Nick how you like well done steak.
I like well done steak.
What is wrong with you?
See, Ryan says the same thing.
Yeah.
My son-in-law.
He sounds like a wise man, wise beyond his years.
It's getting downright creepy, to be quite honest. But that's really my problem.
Not so handsome Jack says, happy anti-cis hetero straight white male Pride Month, Nick. Hey, you too, buddy. Is Halson says, I'll happily endorse Pride Month this time if it lets Vic's gay pants just win already. Did you see he had a bang out showing in San Antonio?
I heard about it. I wasn't there, obviously.
Yeah.
He seems to have a whole lot of fans for somebody that's, a has-been. Have you noticed?
Yeah.
It's almost like his fans really, really like him.
It's weird.
And stuff. Yeah. It's pretty strange.
Vagabond Ninja says, in Ender's game, Orson Scott Card called The Impact of Digital Networks with the Nets and Ender's siblings influencing millions of people under the pseudonyms of Demosthenes and Locke. Scary stuff. Yes, that's why I hate the movie. They left out like the political aspect of Peter.
I heard the
and
movie
Valentine.
was crap. That's unfortunate because that's one of those. It was originally a short story.
Yeah,
and then it got expanded. But
the last book is about to come out in like October, November of this year.
Huh.
The last Ender book is finally coming out.
I've got to. Yeah. Fiction. What an indulgence to be able to read fiction.
Yeah. But no, he called it, and Peter, that whole storyline being left out of the movie took away all of the impact. Seubrin Kaiser says, I taught my close friend how to shoot rifle. No classes needed. He just needed to buy a rifle to start. He now shoots a K-31 with consistent hits. Wolfgang says, I never had a BB gun, however, I had a shotgun out in the woods on my dad's work gathering, as well as learned to use guns in the Navy. Tamara Holloway says, no ER or call from doc after MRI. Yay! Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday, Tamara. I'm glad to hear that. Breck Nichols says, Recato Law, here in Dallas, real men play horseshoes and hand grenades.
Absolutely. And close. Well, never mind.
Mojo Itch says, was the Kermit the Frog or Jordan Peterson from Freedom Tunes? Yes. Matthew Harder says, Trump's Pump and Munch, formerly known as Chuck's. 2012 Jameson says, Ty, take your daughter to Houston Museum of Printing History. Also, I'm waiting for those idiots that block traffic to be charged with false imprisonment. You can go backwards, so you're not in prison. False imprisonment requires literal, prevention of any movement in any direction, which seems weird, but it is true. Matthew Harder says, hey, Nick, got my business's tiny, small, microscopic PPP loan approved. I'll get about $3K. Enjoy the weird super chats ahead. Why doesn't Ty do live streams? Probably because he's busy.
Yeah, it looks a whole lot like work.
Jim McCobb says, if you haven't watched the film Network, starring Faye Dunaway, William Holden, Peter Finch, and Robert Duvall, mid-70s flick, very relevant to now. Cars in Depth says, Longstreet has been underrated because he supported Reconstruction, became a Republican. Jubal Early did a lot of damage to Longstreet's reputation.
That would do it.
Cal Clay says, wear Russian gas mask when you go out. What I'm wearing. Rogue Mike says, Nick, what day is your Matsuri panel on? I don't know yet. I don't know. Victor Phantasm says, hey, Nick.
I get to be on your panel if I come?
I didn't list you on the panel.
Oh, no. Well, you mean I'll just be a normal person sitting in the audience?
Just be a normie.
Oh,
sorry.
I don't know if I can do that, man.
Victor Phantasm says, hey, Nick, sorry for that last black-pilled super chat. What would Ty rather choose? My scaly girlfriend or Elliot Page? Death is not an option. DM sent to both your respective Twitters. Glad I could help. You need to stop. The John Beck says, gun sales are fueled by instability. Current high ammo prices are rigged. Do you guys agree with either of these statements? Not saying I do. Asking. I think gun sales are fueled by instability, but
I agree with that.
I think it's instability in the gun market, though, where people think that guns are going to be banned.
Personally, I think that there were times where ammo was bought up by the government during the Obama administration, and that caused and probably intentionally, with the intention of causing prices to go up. My understanding is the ammo crisis is more of a situation of people just can't seem to buy enough damn ammo, and they can only make so much, and it's not easy to expand the capacity to manufacture bullets. I mean, bullets are, they're made out of metal and stuff. You can't just call up Amazon and dial up another server.
Yeah.
That's my understanding is that it's a genuine production or supply and demand issue.
I also think high ammo prices aren't rigged. The cost of all raw materials went up dramatically because harvesting operations stopped.
Well, and we dumped trillions of dollars into the economy without increasing productivity. And I took a class in college. What was that class called? Echo something or another. Anyway, but they said that when you do that, prices go up.
Yeah. Victor Phantasm says, hey, Mick, because you're a part Irish or something, right? Are you going to play my new game, Hobo Tough Life? I mean, in the game, you should beg, but I only pressure my chat to contribute. You got to contribute.
That is literally the worst Irish accent I've ever heard in my life.
I'm not. No, not an Irish. I'm being Darkside Phil.
Oh.
He says he called me Mick because I'm part Irish. Is what he was saying. But I was being Darkside Phil. You have to know the Darkside Phil lore to understand.
I don't. Yeah, that's fine.
Red Guy says the day after tomorrow, hey, there's a whole section on tax law that we can burn. Yep. The funny thing was that whole section of tax law would have been sufficient.
Yeah. Well, I mean, gosh, you're living the life, a dream life when you're listening to lawyers at 1 o'clock in the morning talk about tax law.
I poured the 1K drink back when it happened. I've been drinking it the whole time. Everybody never sees me drink the 1K drink. This is the 1K drink. Thank you. 1,000 likes. Much appreciated. It's the same. Buchanan's Deluxe. It's delicious.
I love good scotch.
200-watt studio says remove the gas tax and people buy more fuel and fossil fuels will be eliminated faster than now. Why has no one thought of this? No brainer.
Fossil fuels will not be eliminated unless the human race is willing to take a massive cut in their standard of living.
Matthew Harder says, Nick, as a small child, my dad used to get drunk and make me shoot unloaded firearms. Is that bad? Unlike him, I never shot bullets into the roof.
Yes, that's bad.
Wolfgang says, also Marines. Ooh, crayons. Nom, 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 nom. Matthew Harder says, Nick, come to Texas sometime with Ty. We'll go to Cooper's in Llano. I'll gladly fill your mouth with the most delicious meat. Thank you for that very Pride Month-oriented chat.
Yeah, wow.
Poorly redacted says, Nick, gun to the head if you had to choose normal, no balls futa or a furry balls futa. Oh, furry. The John Beck says, Ty.
I'd be flipping a coin on that one.
Ty, is it better in Collin County than Dallas County? Or do I need to go further north to Denton?
Collin, yeah, Collin is a more conservative county for the most part, but their police department is absolute crap. They had a video that went viral showing a cop, a guy finally, they were blocking traffic, and this guy gets out of his truck. He's got to be at work or something, and was pissed. Mm-hmm. And of course, the cop comes and jumps all over him for getting in the protester's face. Yep. That cop should be fired, period. End of story. Their chief of police should be fired. End of story. He's an embarrassment. The Plano City Council, should be being carpet bombed by the voters, because that's where the shit starts, right? You don't cater to thugs.
Yep.
And what's going to happen is, unlike in the wussy left coast, we're all very well armed around here. And so if the cops keep taking the side of Antifa and BLM, we're going to start shooting them. That's how these things play out. I'm not advocating it. I'm simply saying that's the course they take. Why is it, Nick, that people can't seem to figure out that the primary purpose of the police is to protect the criminals from us, not the other way around?
2012 Jameson says Clay Jenkins went to Ebola house, no PPE but COVID lockdown. In Lemon Woods.
Yeah, he's a grandstanding jackass. Sorry, he just is.
Masks help with farts and Monica too. Nick likes double stuffed like Ron. Disgusting. Mario Carter says, here's my super tax. Got to pay the grift toll. Yes, you do. Oh, shoot. Ace of Spades says, the Russian Army ad reminds me of the trailer for Halo 3 ODST. I recommend watching it and seeing the comparison of how awesome it is. Reminds me of the Marine Corps ads.
One bit if they didn't, if it wasn't inspired.
Right. Reminds me of the Marine Corps ads back in the day and getting me to join.
You remember the Marine ad? Did you remember the Marine ad where they were forging the sword and he turns into the knight? That may be the baddest military ad.
That was so awesome. Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah.
Redhead Gez says, first super chat. Oh, thank you. Be gentle.
Oh, I got a Marine story to tell you real quick that you'd probably like. So I was a high school teacher briefly. We were the Marine recruiters came to campus and they had a table set up in the lunchroom. And of course, being a typical public education kind of thing, most of the teachers were lefties, and they were sitting in the teachers area of the cafeteria, and they're bitching about it shouldn't be allowed to do this. And well, these kids aren't going to be recruited anyway. And I said, yeah, they are. Why would you say that? I said, well, so these are young Marines with the Marine dress uniform on, which is the greatest dress uniform on the earth, except maybe the British dress uniform.
It looks great. It really does.
It's just totally badass. Anyway, and I said, well, okay, so you see those girls, all those pretty girls looking at the Marines, right? Okay. You see the guys looking at the girls, looking at the Marines.
Yeah.
My guess is they're gonna easily fulfill their recruiting quota.
Yeah, it won't be too difficult.
Not too difficult at all.
All right, we've got Redhead Gez says, first super chat. Thank you, by the way. Be gentle, Law Daddy Lol. More to come. Got stories for you, Ty and Drex. In the UK, so only watch replays. Woke up when you said find something you enjoy. Currently rebuilding Granddad's motorbike after fully stripping it down.
Cool.
Very
Cool.
cool, man.
Nathan Danner. Yeah, the Navy dress uniforms are pretty good looking too, but come on, the Marines just are an order of magnitude better than everybody.
Rand,
Sorry.
Random Blaze says Ty just needs to admit that he likes eating boot leather instead of a juicy steak. Emma will never catch up thanks to Obama's EPA regulating the U.S. lead industry out of business.
Can't we all just get along on the steak?
No. No, you're objectively incorrect. It's unfortunate,
Oh,
but
well, and
it's true.
apparently it's like fingernails on the chalkboard too to you people. But
Matthew Harder says Nick and Ty, I'm almost 33, no kids, no wife. I make like 40,000, Space Marines a year, and I own my own 4/3 4.6 acre home. Is it too late for me? No.
no.
No, there's
Not at all.
look, there are dudes who become fathers at 50, man. Like there isn't, guys do not have the same biological clock, and we age like
We
wine.
don't actually have a biological clock, in point of fact.
Right. And,
Especially now that you have things like Viagra and Cialis, right?
but I mean, it's not even just that. It's like we don't even have an attractiveness biological clock, because our attractiveness is not actually linked. I mean, in some way, yes, it's still physical, but it's not linked as heavily to physicality as women's is. We don't have.
It will never be a disadvantage to look like Brad Pitt, okay?
Right.
There are way too many ugly ass men with gorgeous wives for it to be anything about for looks to be a major factor in all this. They're simply not. Yeah, what women do want, hell, I don't know.
Yeah, but
Watch
no,
some women.
trust me, it's not too late for you. It's what you want.
No.
It's what you want, and is it worth pursuing to you? Those are different questions. But it's
One thing
it's not too late.
you need to get out more, because I guarantee you're probably a fairly hot commodity. You're a guy with a decent job and a home and no crazy ex-wife and no kids. That would be very attractive to a whole lot of women about 10 years younger than you.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Cal Clay says Rise One here. Book is poetry by Trump's Twitter. Oh, that sounds great.
Oh God. Yeah, I bet that is good.
CJ says, what about sharing medical information by proxy? Company states they are COVID safe or some sort of telltale state of medical information. I don't think that's going to be a valid theory.
I don't like this prescription. I mean, I don't like this conclusion, but I agree with Nick on this one. I don't think there's.
And the question is, the other question is your COVID vaccination status actually covered under protected medical information? I don't know that it actually is. Like,
it probably is. I think those things are fairly broadly defined, but again, employers aren't subject to HIPAA.
Yeah.
Now, what is interesting was that concert where they were going to charge people more money if they hadn't been vaccinated. That might actually violate HIPAA.
Yeah, those things become a lot different there.
But they're not employers,
Oh my God.
Okay, somebody is saying the vaccine is still only emergency authorization, and the Authorization Act says you cannot mandate an emergency use vaccine as employer. Okay, well, the question is, what's the mechanism to enforce that? Maybe as simple, if that's true, ask a federal court for an injunction.
And good luck. I hope you win. I don't see it happening, but we'll see. Cal Clay says, if you're African tribe with lip disc, are you mask exempt? I don't think so. Frosthammer says, Ty, how goes the hosting platform endeavor?
We're still working on it. We had some other things come up that have taken us away from it a little bit, but we're still working on it. We've got it prototyped, and we're testing and all that kind of stuff. When you're talking about hosting somebody's business, I'm kind of paranoid. I want to be damn sure it works.
He says also, what's the chance of Ty and Barnes in a stream? Two history nerds together would be epic. I don't know. I guess
Barnes.
Robert Barnes. I mentioned him earlier. Lawyer.
Oh, is he the guy you're going to be on his show tomorrow? Or
yeah.
Is it somebody else?
Yeah. Viva and
cool.
Barnes tomorrow. Almond John 1 says, I read a comment saying that because so many women will now will probably wound up old, lonely, and alone, that it's best to invest in cat food and vineyard companies. Persona non grata says, hi, Nick and Ty, loving the show. Here's to peace and love. Wick Dipper says, how bad would it be if the left weaponized the legal theory used in the Texas abortion law? Anyone bringing charges. Again, it says anyone can bring the charges, but every case that is brought that does not have someone with a tangible injury is going to be dismissed pretty early, and maybe even sua sponte by the court. So the real thing with the Texas abortion law, it's for dads and grandparents, basically, who don't approve of the abortion. That's who's going to be the people with the real cases. Benjamin Myers says, recently watched It's a Gun video on DSP. Now I know too much of the story. I've been only assuming. Did you have something to say about that abortion law?
No, I agree with you on that.
Cal Clay says, Mignogna and Tyson, men with gay voice but scary to fight. Chuck Ross says,
interesting point.
corporate global hegemony says gay rights. Yep, that's this whole month. Cal Clay says, DYK cartoon sex ed video. Oh yeah, the Blues Clues sex ed video shown to 2-year-old Shapiro SRC as the source. 200-watt studios.
You did hear about the elite little private school in
the masturbation to the first graders.
I am glad. I am so glad that's happening at these private schools. Let's see if these affluent white liberals like it when it happens to their kids.
Yeah, they hated it. They said, I pay these
go figure.
The comment was, I pay these assholes $50,000 a year for this.
Yeah. And you know what though? What percentage of those parents though would have no problem mandating it in the public schools?
Yep.
Right. But this is their kids.
That's right. 200-watt studio. What time tomorrow on Barnes? I want to super chat and mock you. Thank you. 6 p.m. Central Time. Matthew Arter says, Nick and Ty, I'm so glad you two never joined the Marines. Y'all's skin is too soft and supple. However, the Marines is a comedy club, so we miss out.
Well, again, had my eyesight gone south, I wanted to be a naval aviator because I specifically wanted to fly Tomcats. I would have settled for the Marines. But at that time they were flying Phantoms, so they didn't have the F-18.
Arias Rofocal says, cook steak today, medium rare, because I'm not a heathen.
Again, can't men have valid disagreements on points of religion?
Only valid ones, and yours isn't. Cal Clay says, Dennis Leary was right. Danica Hansen is forever sexy. 200-watt studio says, Nick, how bad has the WHO lied to the public about COVID-19 and not need vaccines and masks? Doctors say you don't need them, but the WHO lied and said yes. I have no comment about that. I am not here to question the WHO or any other CDC-like organization. You should listen to the experts and consult with your personal medical health care provider on the best option for your health.
I would, however, submit that taking medical advice from a bipolar garden gnome like Fauci might not be your best move.
You should listen to the experts.
Sorry.
Consult with your own medical professional so I don't get a YouTube strike.
Right. And I agree with you completely on that. Nick. I was just merely, extrapolating.
Cal Clay says, oh my God. OG hand crank Gatling gun is 100% legal to own.
I so want one of those.
All right, Linda M says, a hedge fund billionaire, could it be Soros, paid for creepy sex education masturbation stuff to be taught to first graders at Dalton with a cartoon video. Please show the vid. Matt Walsh blog tweeted to Ty. Please show Ty in chat the bumper sticker pic I emailed yesterday. I'll show the bumper sticker pic tomorrow. It's really, like I said, it's really annoying to bring stuff up on a video with a guest. Crusader says, Inglourious Bastards is a good film, but my favorite Tarantino is still Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Absolutely hits all the right notes for me. Magnificent film. That one guy says, if Monica was any less interesting, the stallions in Mountain Park Valley would be getting a lot less exercise when they come off the Glen on Thursdays. But as long as Ron never shows up with her, the herd should continue to accept her useful mediocrity. Crusader says, Nick, Ty, since you mentioned the WNBA, please watch this quick 2-minute video. No, it's after 2 a.m. I'm not watching shit about the WNBA pay gap. It's hilarious. Bad Dragon Knight says the multiplayer Conan the Barbarian game, Conan Exiles, and MechWarrior 5 are both on Game Pass now, Nick. Might be worth checking out on Twitch sometime. Probably won't kill your stream like a certain game last night. Make sure Conan is censored mode, though. That's no fun. Xander's Rand says Supreme Court overturns the Star Wars sequel trilogy May 8th, 2020. BabylonB.com. Prophecy fulfilled.
Yeah. Oh, God, that's right.
Hunter Dildo says in Trump.
Well, it's been struck down at the appeals court level anyway.
Right. We're getting there.
Yeah. Well,
in Trump voice, Ty, have you watched the Drexel's video on males getting pegged? And what is your opinion on the trend of males getting pegged? Also, Joe Biden hates the blacks. If he wanted to help them, then pardon all the blacks.
Let's see. No, I don't have an opinion. I don't want an opinion. And yeah, maybe so.
That one guy says, Ty, you and your buddies need to create a network, website, whatever, to help conservatives find employers that don't hate us and won't require us to bow to the
family-owned businesses, especially businesses started by first-generation entrepreneurs. There may be some liberal ones around, but I've never met one.
Yeah. And won't require.
And remember, family-owned businesses can be rather large. We have family-owned. I represent family-owned businesses that have 1,000 employees.
Right.
So
Hobby Lobby was a family-owned business. Walmart was a family-owned business. I mean, now it's a major corporation, but I mean,
Hobby Lobby probably still is pretty.
Yeah, I think it's still a closely held operation.
Yeah, but I mean, they're probably still non-woke too, because first generation is still in charge. What happens is when the second generation comes along, and they start listening to their spouses and start wanting to impress their friends at the country club.
Right. He says, and won't require us to bow to the woke or get the poke in order to keep our jobs. Everybody wants this.
It's not a bad idea, though. It might be interesting to create a clearinghouse like that sort of thing, where conservative employers could look for conservative employees. Because I tell you what, if you own a company, let's just shoot straight from the straight. Why in the hell would you ever hire any liberal if you had a choice?
You're hiring a problem.
You're hiring an absolute problem.
Yeah.
I mean, that woke crap it's what incompetent, worthless people do when they can't actually do their job.
It's like putting your arm in the microwave hoping you get cancer. Like, because cancer's the better outcome, right?
Yeah.
Like that's
right.
That's what you're hoping for. It's a terrible plan.
I mean, no, it's not a bad idea at all. I'll look into it.
Federal unemployment tax says in Trump voice, hey, Ty, should the Federal Unemployment Tax Act be dispensed from 2 reserve receptacles or not?
I don't know.
Also heard about Alan West sending Oreos to the Democrats for calling Tim Scott an Oreo. Hashtag gun
I like
control.
Alan West. He's good people. I wish he had had more political success than he has had, but he's good people.
Hashtag gun control is racist against blacks. I think the federal unemployment tax should be dispensed from 2 reserve receptacles. Like, 1 isn't sufficient to me.
And if I knew what that meant, I'd probably agree with you.
I think so. Mexican Man and Cheese says California has a whole department dedicated to collecting taxes on people moving away as a soft disincentive to keep liberals out of red states. Red states should voluntarily help California collect those taxes.
I would, I would tell them to go bleep themselves and let them try to enforce it.
We says, just wanted to let you know that Ken Taro Miura died. Man, that sucks. Also, George Floyd, Rayshard Brooks, Adolf Hitler, Joseph Stalin, and Jesus Christ died. Also, Genghis Khan and my grandma. Oh, that was depressing. Fuck the IRS says, hey, Ty, if you're a creator on YouTube and make income and capital gains in Puerto Rico and other territories, would the IRS screw you? Yes. I can help.
I mean, they'll try to beat whatever money out of you they can. Puerto Rico, I think they actually are subject to our internal. Several of our territories have what are called mirror codes. They have that like their own IRS, but their tax code is identical to ours. The U.S. Virgin Islands, for example.
YouTube is going to be taxed under treaties for any non-U.S. place, by the way, and they'll tax you preemptively now. And
YouTube is earned income. So if you're an American citizen, you're going to pay tax on it regardless of where you are.
Yep.
Because Americans are taxed on all income worldwide.
Also, is there any courts like the Southern District of New York in Texas regarding political prosecutions? Ty, please do a live stream with Robert Barnes.
Cool. I've never seen Robert Barnes. Sounds like a pretty good guy, though. Sounds like he's very impressive.
I like him.
I don't remember any political. Yeah, actually, that's not true. In Austin, uh, the the Austin City municipal courts and stuff. Well, the courts in Austin actually went after Governor Rick Perry um, on several political attempted prosecutions. I think the legislature changed the law though, so they can't do that. And I think now if a politician is charged, he has to be tried in his own county or something. I think I don't know.
Here we go.
But yeah, letting the city letting Travis County have jurisdiction over the legislature was not a great move.
No. Xander's Rant says Babylon B interviewed a pastor and asked if liking well done steak is a sin. The pastor said recently someone asked him to repent of his sins of liking well done steak. Arrow Shogun says, what are the chances that Chipman will become the head of the ATF? High. And do you believe they can get AR-15s and part kits banned in the near future? Yeah, they're going to ban them, and it's going to take 5 to 6 years for them to trickle through the courts to get the bans challenged. That's the plan.
Well, of course, and hopefully, some of our Trump-appointed judges will stay the enforcement of those laws pending the outcome of the cases, though. Democrats sure are overreaching hard for having the thinnest possible majority in the Senate and nearly the thinnest possible majority in the House.
They know it's going away in 2022.
Seems to be, yeah. Now, one thing I would warn everybody is, the average is around 55 or 60 losses in the House for new Democrat presidents. We have probably already bagged about half of those. So I wouldn't be surprised if we don't, gain that many seats. But that won't be because we lost. It just means that we took a lot of them out in 2016 because they're almost their entire freshman class of conservative Democrats, aka Nancy Pelosi crash test dummies, got wiped out. The one guy that changed parties didn't, and I think one other didn't, and the rest of them, about 30 of them, got slaughtered. So
he says, "I'm buying what I can because I don't trust him, and I'm never optimistic about the future of the West or the USA." Dungeon Master.
No, don't give into that.
Yeah.
For reasons we don't have time to go into tonight. Maybe we can have another visit sometime, and I'll make the case for why I'm still very optimistic about the fate of the West.
Dungeon Master says, I've been watching for a while, but I guess not long enough to know this. Where does the Mr. Y voice come from? It's hilarious, and I love how everyone gets so uncomfortable whenever it comes out, especially Drexy Pie. His reactions are classic. It's me doing an impression of this really lame gay kid that came over when we were playing a Halo party. We were having a Halo party at my house, and this kid named Brandon, Drexel's brother, brought him over. It was super uncool, super lame. He had this voice, and he's like, my friend Nate is better at Halo than all of you. God, it was awful.
Oh,
dear
God.
was just insufferable.
See, when I was a kid, we just beating him up.
Yeah. Well, we just killed him a lot at Halo. It was good.
Yeah. No, I mean, we would have beaten the shit out of him. But it was a different time.
Malik says, Yo, Nick, missed you, Ty. Not much to say except glad to be not giving Susan any money again. Here's some shekels, Nick. Hey, thank you. And Nicky Boy says, can you please briefly talk to Barnes about his weird post-Fuentes debate freakout? How it made him look terrible. I do not agree or like Fuentes. I just think Barnes helped him by freaking out instead of being logical instead. Idiotic book for the win. I mean, I think Fuentes' stock is dropping quickly. I don't think it's gonna hurt Barnes that much. Next is
if I could real quick, one of the streamers referred to me as the whitest Tyrone ever. In point of fact, I think I am the last white man named Tyrone in America.
It's okay because Cuckold Simulator has Tyrone Jr.
I know. Again, something I never would have thought of when I was a kid.
200 Watt Studio says lol, kudos for reading that, Nick. Lol, trolling you. Cal Clay says, sorry, Danica Patrick, Sports Illustrated NASCAR driver. CJ says, Ty Calico Firearms. They have a Gatling 22.
Yeah. Like I said, I wanted one. I mean, I want one.
Tamara Holloway says, could class action be filed against Fauci? Fauci just made a bunch of recommendations, and those recommendations
I
are
think
going to
Fauci is an example of what happens when you run out of tar and feathers. It's the tragic consequence of a lack of tar and feathers. Because boy, if anyone ever deserved it, just saying.
I think it's really, I don't know what you would sue him for.
No.
Cal Clay says, Nick, is GoFundMe earned income YouTuber loophole?
It's earned income.
Yeah.
Well,
it depends on the GoFundMe.
Yeah, yeah. So that's an interesting thing. Actually, I looked into this for reasons that are probably obvious. The GoFundMe is income to the extent that something of value is exchanged.
Right.
So if let's say you make a GoFundMe contribution to someone who hires a lawyer for some reason. Okay. The person who hires the lawyer, that's a gift to them, except to the extent that they exchange something of value back. So you gave $10 to the GoFundMe and they gave you a $5 autographed picture. Well, then that's $5 of income to him. The lawyer is, of course, being paid for his work, so he's taxed regardless. So that's how that works.
Yeah, and like YouTube and Streamlabs donations, tips, whatever you want to call them, are part of the performance. Like they're part of the performance, so they're definitely income. If you did a GoFundMe to try and get around that, it's still part of the performance. I mean, you can try and lie
giving a performance to get the GoFund, that's actually a great analogy. It's a performance. It's a fee for a performance.
Yeah, and if you try and go around that, that's just you lying to the IRS. And anytime you go, I have a scheme that'll help me get around the IRS, you're already in really troubled territory.
Yeah, I can tell you, as someone who does a lot of that kind of stuff, there aren't any great ideas like that haven't already been tried.
Yeah. Trooper FN2525 says, Trump, gas pump girls is life. I recommend it. There's nothing like regular gas versus super duper gas. Deserves an Emmy, and Fuentes won by a lot. He won bigly. 200 Watt Studio says, I, Nick Recato, say 100% WHO wrong about COVID-19. Stop it. 200 Watt Studio.
Now they're just setting you up.
Yeah. This is my life. Let's see.
Disclaimer, we are not responsible for the opinions expressed by the super chats. We do take their money, however.
Okay, and last ones here. We've got not a fan from Mario Carter 13 says, not a fan of Barnes going full Kraut and tea. Locals academics, please respond. Look, that being said, I just ultimately don't think that is going to hurt Barnes anyway. You don't have to be a fan of it. I didn't watch it. I don't really know.
What happened?
There's a debate between Robert Barnes and Nick Fuentes, and the biggest question I have is why on earth would Robert Barnes take a debate with Nick Fuentes? But that being said, there's a debate, and some people think that Barnes won, and a whole lot of people on the internet think that Nick Fuentes won the debate. It was about Israel and should the U.S. have an interventionist policy in Israeli stuff.
Was Barnes pro-Israel or anti?
Pro-Israel.
Obviously pro, yeah. If the internet thought he was wrong, yeah.
Yeah. And so it's like there's just it's a loser of debate if you're scoring with internet points in general, and
it's not going to change anybody's mind.
Yeah. So I mean,
no one's going to say, I really hated Robert Barnes, but after hearing that, I like him now, or vice versa. It's just it's such a polarized issue that
But it's weird. I don't know. Like I wouldn't do that debate. I would say Nick Fuentes is a weirdo. And again, I have done far more to help the white race grow than Nick fucking Fuentes. Doesn't even have a girlfriend at this point.
That's right. Yeah. Your credentials are impeccable on that point.
Let's see. Okay. All these guys, all these like white identitarian nationalists, and it's like, go out and have white kids then. What are you doing? Why are you on the internet yelling about
If you
it?
were a desirable, attractive woman, would you actually want to be with any of those guys?
I don't know what desirable, attractive women want. I'm married to one and I don't know what she wants. So,
oh, right. But I think you know what they don't want, at least to some degree, right?
yeah. So,
Yeah.
it's become a weird place.
If you spend your time being good at your job and being good as a husband and a father and trying to be, competent and capable of the things that you like, you don't have time for that bullshit. I mean, you know, uh, things like white supremacy and all that crap, those are indulgences for people who are talentless. Uh, because the rest of us have real jobs and real stuff that we got to do, the actual stuff that matters.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, it's just such a weird space to be in. The internet is a weird place. Okay, finally, Ooey 99 says peace, and Calculates says, have you seen Pride Lego set? It has Orange Man in it. No, I have not seen it, and more importantly, I never want to see it. Anon says, you say tarring and feathering like it isn't a realistic option, but you've shot down every legal recourse asked about tonight. Legality is a mask worn by naked tyranny. And the only real power seems to be mob rule. Am I wrong?
We didn't shoot it down. We simply told you what the facts are. we didn't design the legal system. I do think it's unfortunate that tarring and feathering doesn't happen more often.
Yeah, but the only real power is not mob rule. We've seen that over and over. If the real power was mob rule, I don't think 2020 went down the way it did.
Yeah.
I mean, right? Like that. The narrative out there is that there were more votes for Trump. So if mob rule was the only avenue, then mob rule would have won in 2020, but it didn't.
Yeah.
So there's something with that. But anyway, finally, they keep coming in. They're never going to let me stop.
Those bastards giving you money.
He sent me a bunch of bears.
Ruthless bastards. God.
And then he says, but seriously, peace. Calculate says, femdom waifu free on stream and not age restricted. Oh, Jesus.
Oh,
Crackbot says, Nick, arguing on the internet is like competing in the Special Olympics. Even if you win, you are still, we'll say, handicapped.
Oh,
we'll say handicapped. And Uy says, peace. All right, Ty, my friend. Thank you so much for coming on. Guys,
missed you guys.
North Texas, what's the convention?
North Texas RPG Con. I'm gonna post a link to it one more time in the stream, in the chat, just to say, it's a good convention. Good guys put it on. Like I said, I'm looking forward to it. This is a reward I'm giving myself for a rough couple of months.
Good. Good. All right, guys, I'm going to go on Twitch. I'm going to try and play Necromunda. I have one thing to try. It's a slightly different approach to the streaming that might take the load off of OBS. If it doesn't work, we're watching a movie. If it does work, we'll play a game for a little bit. All right.
Icon of send your lips to God's ears. He said one day I'll get to fire a spread of Phoenix missiles from an F-14.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Sorry, meow. Not yet.
All right, guys. We'll catch you later. Have a good night. There's no outro when I have a guest. Peace.